Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBoxxTV podcast 541. That's also Central Oregon's area code, 541. Yeah, that sounds about right. I think I see Nate and Val's number enough. Yeah, we're going to go with that. God, I'm going to instantly start with name dropping 7-time world champs or something like that. Welcome in, everyone. Terry Miller joined alongside Johnny V. Post Memorial Championship.
Yeah, we just both of us are back. We traveled separately. I got there a day after you. I left a day before you. Are you feeling any better? You kind of had you had a little crud this weekend.
Yeah, it was miserable. I am feeling much better than I was, we'll say 48 hours ago. What day is it? Tuesday? 48 hours ago or so. Certainly still under some weather. Hopefully we'll see how long my voice holds up tonight. Maybe that will be cutting the show a little short. A little bit of a cough yet, but it's coming around. It was not pleasant getting off the plane, not because I could see my breath on the jet bridge, which is not something that we're used to doing, but also because my ears then weren't quite fully adjusted, some fluid and everything else. So normally I have no problems with flying, things of that nature, but as some of you know, when there's a little extra fluid between the ears or in the ears or in the rest of your noggin, sometimes that can make some
I had that same problem coming into Phoenix. Just whatever reason, I was still congested from last week. And when we landed, it hurt. Like literally I sat there with plugging my nose and trying to, pop my eardrums. And it was not a pleasant 10 minutes until finally things evened out and settled down. But
normally when we go to tournaments or come back from tournaments or something of that nature, either there or back, someone's like, oh, you brought such and such weather with you, whether it was the clouds or the cold or the heat, whatever. We all know that's some of those cheesy sayings that we love so much. Well, I wish I would have brought Arizona's cold back to Wisconsin instead of the cold that we currently have residing here. And that was certainly a conversation piece as we were looking at the weekend. Everybody was just a little bit chilly. It was.
Not everybody, but.
Well, people were a little bit chilled.
Locals.
Understandably. When it got into the mid to high 40s at sunfall, on, say, Friday or Saturday night, there was a chill in the air. I was no longer in shorts and a T-shirt, and being comfortable with that. And, temps were in the 60s or so, which during the day in the sun is great for some. It got a little bit chilly there at night, but then to be welcomed home last night to 6 or 8 below without the wind chill and 20 to 30 with wind chill, 20 to 30 below with wind chill, not nearly as pleasant, but everybody's got their struggles around the country. And my car started when we got back to the airport.
Which is always something to worry about because I parked in the parking ramp and I was worried because I have come back to a car that is dead.
Yeah.
That exact car actually.
Yeah.
In the past.
Yeah, and even with some newer cars or fresher batteries, you still have to worry sometimes. For those that don't have to deal with any of that, yes. Even a newer battery sometimes can struggle when it gets that cold and it's been sitting there for multiple days without running. So everything was good. Got home, got right back to editing, and here we are. So we've got more coverage to come out, some FPO action as well as some MP40 action.
The only time I donned a sweatshirt was Saturday morning when it was like 51 degrees. And the problem with Fountain Hills is that where you park isn't anywhere near, like when you leave the car, what you leave with, you keep because you're never getting back around to where you park.
Probably, yep.
And by hole 2, I was done with the sweatshirt because it had gone from 51 to about 56. And at that point, things weren't as chilly. I was moving around more. So I just had to tie the sweatshirt to the back of the bag and roll from there. But it was overall happy. Good weather. Can't complain much better than here.
Well, it was cold enough to give us a little shiver or a burr. And that, of course, is one Gannon Buhr, your champion from this weekend. All right, I got to work on those transitions a little. Here, right off the bat. You ready to do this?
Hold on.
Okay.
He's almost ready.
Oh, he's doing his Iceman impression.
Where he's
sitting,
just super frozen.
Where he's just frozen and sitting there. Or he maybe had to hit reset, and I think he's going to rejoin us here in a moment. We're thinking.
Yeah, he should be back.
Okay, now it looks like
I'm
he's
back.
back.
I don't know why
he's back.
All
good. All right.
That's right. Terry just had an awful segue to your intro, so you didn't miss much. Don't worry about it.
Thank you for joining us. Congratulations. So here's the first question, because you're obviously always on podcast, always coming back, because you keep winning. That's the easiest way to get on a show or to be asked onto a show is you keep on winning. My question though is, do you gain more fans when you win, or do you lose more fans? How am I trying to word this? Are people sick of you winning? Like,
yeah.
I don't mean that as just the competitors that you keep beating.
Yeah.
But isn't it crazy that the chatter online is, I'm sick of seeing one guy, and it doesn't appear to be personal, but I'm sick of seeing one guy win all the time. How do you react to that?
Get good.
Yeah. I mean, it is good. Obviously, I think it's going to be, if I continue to play the way I am, I think it's going to probably stay in that stage for a little bit. And then I think maybe, down the road a little bit, people will start liking me for that reason. But, I feel like everyone's kind of that same way with like the Chiefs in football. They're just like anyone but the Chiefs. Like, So, I mean, it's just what happens. It's just how it goes. And I'm still going to have my diehard fans, but I'm also going to have people that are rooting for, other people. And, winning something like the Memorial where it's, Ricky lives there in AB's hometown, and kind of taking it from him feels a little bit wrong sometimes. And it kind of feels like everyone's like, oh, dang, someone else won,
You're kind of right, because I had a chance to walk along on Saturday and watch the action. There was significant difference in crowd reaction to when you birdied or hit a good putt versus when AB threw a good shot or hit a good putt. You can feel it in the crowd, and I get that, hometown, all this other stuff. Does that get to you at all, or do you just realize I'm gonna get this when we're in Des Moines?
I mean, like, I just kind of know that's how it's gonna be. Again, I don't really take it too personal. That's just how sports is.
Lots of people seem to get let down that AB wasn't able to pull this off, but then you have to turn around and look at just the raw score and what you did during that final round in terms of what you shot. Kind of just generically recap how you feel about that final round.
Yeah, I think it kind of went under the radar a little bit, but I only missed one hole in the back nine, and that was my putt on hole 16 that didn't stay in the basket. So, I don't know what it was. I just knew I was going to pretty much birdie out or get close to it, about midway through the round. I told my caddy, Matt, if he makes a mistake, I'm going to make him pay for it. And so they slowly started to pile up. I got the tee box somewhat early in the round, which helps me a lot. I think it allows me to play freely and apply more pressure. But I started off okay. I birdied one. We both missed two. We both got three, but then he got four and I missed four. And so at that point, through 4 holes, and even through 5 holes, I'm down 5 strokes with only 13 holes to play. But then from there on out, I only missed 2 more holes. So I just, I think obviously my history there at that event helps me a lot. There's so many holes that I almost step up to, and I know it's a guaranteed birdie. And Vista's not an easy course whatsoever. And a lot of people can say like, oh, AB choked and I just got lucky. But in my opinion, that's my best round I've ever shot out there at Vista, 13 under. And like I said, it's not an easy course at all. So, um, I think AB shot a 600, which isn't that bad of a round either.
Yeah, I was just gonna. As soon as I was looking at it, I'm thinking, I don't remember seeing something as good as a 13 in any recent memory. In fact, if I recall, when I was doing some commentary, I think we were saying like last year, hot round was I think 8 on Saturday and then 8 on Sunday. And so
Yeah.
for you to come out and shoot a 13 to clear the hot round of last year out of all competitors on Saturday or Sunday, but you cleared that by a full 5 strokes is insane. Are you shocked that it's only rated 1084?
Not super shocked. It definitely felt like it might have been a bit low, but that's just because there was really no wind. I shot a 12 down there in 2023, and that was
Okay.
rated. And I think it's pretty much the same course. 18 was a little bit shorter, and 3 was a little bit longer, but overall, pretty much the same course. And that was rated 1092, I believe, at a 12 under. So the rating definitely seemed a bit low, and I feel like that's kind of been the trend of Memorial the last couple of years. The ratings actually haven't been that crazy good. Um, you just have not as many people playing the event, and if it's not windy, it is tough to get those high rated rounds.
Yeah, usually those higher rated rounds tend to come at Fountain anyway. Vista, not immune to them,
Yeah.
but Fountain is really the one where we see the 1100s get broken more frequently.
Yeah, I
Yep.
apologize. I was even thinking even a few years ago that we had seen such a good round, and the 12 under is obviously pretty much right there with
You probably
it. It just,
recorded it, Terry.
I probably did, or edited it and
You did not,
commentated
'cause
on it.
I was 10 strokes off the lead when I shot that round.
So you were
okay.
probably swearing about it. God
Yeah.
damn you, Gannon.
Well, you were on you were probably on chase card, and it was probably what,
Yeah,
Saturday?
I was on some way back card.
Yeah,
That was
okay.
my first Memorial. I was down 10 strokes with 2 rounds to play, and
Okay.
won in a playoff. So that was pretty crazy.
So, is there anything else to be said specifically about these two courses? There's a lot of chatter online, obviously, about if they're dated or that they're Heiserfests and so on and so forth. But is there anything in particular about these two courses, that really jumps out for you?
To me, they're just very fun to play. Like, it's one of my favorite events to play. And maybe some of that is the history of the tournament, but it's a great mix. It feels, I don't know, it feels like a pretty big tournament still to me. You kind of get warmed up out at Fountain the first 2 rounds, and then the real test is at Vista, and that's where people kind of get, you get shown how your game truly is at Vista. Vista plays very comparable to Pro Tour courses in the way it scores. Um, so yeah, it's not uncommon to see, a 13 under on the Pro Tour be that same exact rating, and you're not going to see that many of them, obviously. And so Vista, a lot of people don't realize it's a pretty tough course, and I think it allows for a lot of different shot shapes and disc choices. But there are a lot of hyzers. It's not a ton of like super technical shots. Obviously, it's not going to be that way if you don't have that many trees. But I think they do a great job with the land that they have. And Fountain's just pretty iconic. If you really wanted to make Fountain tougher, you could find a way to possibly extend a few holes. But really, you would just add some lined OB on a couple of those holes, probably within circle 1 of the basket on that back 9 where there's not really any water.
You just said something that I love to hear, in that you think the courses are fun. Where are we drawing a line as to players having fun, but then yet still get challenged enough to be showcased and highlighted on the Disc Golf Pro Tour? And
Yeah.
so I guess my follow-up to that will be like, where's another instance where there's a course that's fun that we're not playing? Maybe would be a follow-up. But yeah.
I don't know, of course, that we're not playing, but course that we do play would be, the Vermont courses are amazing. Pretty much every player likes those courses. I think it's because it has a good mix of like really scoreable, and I feel like they're pretty fair. Like, as long as the course isn't fluky or gimmicky, or there's there's bad design in the course, I think people are gonna like it no matter what. And with Fountain being the way it is, like, yeah, it's easy, but there's nothing like gimmicky about Fountain other than I don't know, maybe one hole, like hole 9. I don't love it Fountain, but that's kind of unique. It's just a crazy difficult par 3. Um, I think if they wanted to, they could make a new tee pad for that hole to make it like a attackable at par 3. Still similar distance, but like you're almost like looking right at the pin, and then it would be kind of like a oh, it'd be terrifying. It'd be amazing though. I feel like that'd be a really fun hole.
Yeah, that always, even after all these years, that continues to be the least birdied hole out there. And, but it's not really a 4 either, right? It like 3
Yeah,
is,
that's why I don't like
such a
it.
common
Yeah.
number there. And it's a
I've never
perfectly
even
good
tried to go
score.
for it. I haven't even gone for it in practice. I just go to the trees and then putt.
Yeah. Okay. That makes perfect sense. Are you at all surprised? I guess last question on scores is: were you surprised to see that 13 under was the hot score for either round out at Fountain? Nobody busted into the 14s or 15s, and it just didn't seem like maybe scoring was quite as hot as we're used to out there.
Yeah, I think we were a bit rusty. I'm not gonna lie. You
Okay.
know, um, when I shot my 13 at Fountain, I birdied the last 9 holes. So
Mhm.
4 down through 9 isn't even that good. I bogeyed hole 8, which you should birdie every time, and then I missed like a 20-footer on hole 4, and I threw OB in the water left on 2. And if you just give me those, I shoot a 16 under, I believe. And so it's like, yeah. So no, that would have been a 17 under, and I play hole 9 for par. So like, it's not that far off of a perfect round. It's just a couple mistakes. So sometimes it just doesn't fall that way, and I think everyone is a bit rusty. Where you just, all those shots that I messed up were my fault. Where I don't think I'd make that mistake mid-season.
And for that first round was relatively windy. It wasn't like a calm day at Fountain, which makes it obviously approaching, driving and putting at some of those in the front 9 a little scary when those baskets are relatively close to the water. It makes you, maybe especially this time of the season, makes you probably think about those putts a little bit more.
Yeah. Does that?
I think. Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, does that give you a reprieve? Like when you get past hole 9, there's water on 18, and you have to throw a bad shot to go out of bounds on the rest of the course, in my opinion, after hole 9, right? You really have to throw a bad
18 might
shot.
be the only exception where like you could throw like a decent backhand that maybe if you left like a little too high and it skips in the water left quickly, or your forehand maybe hits a wind gust and flips over barely too much, and it goes in the water. But yeah, on the back 9, there's really not a single hole where you shouldn't be worried about anything. You should just be freely throwing at the basket. There's not really too much to think about. On the front 9, there are so many holes. I mean, 1, 2,
5.
7, 8, 5. 5's just long. Like there's a lot of thinking happening, and especially it's like kind of stressful to start your round.
One of the questions that just came off the board is obviously this got moved up, and instead of being in late February and into the first week of March, it gets moved all the way up here into January. Typically, this same weekend is when we'd see the Shelley Sharp Memorial taking place, which is a 3-round event that exclusively uses Vista, and that's going to be held next month. But how do you feel about the event getting moved up? Whether it's the weather or a slightly smaller field, things of that nature. How do you feel about it getting moved for this year, at least?
I mean, it's a little unfortunate because we didn't get as many players. I think. I mean, that's kind of been that way the last couple of years. We had like probably 3 best players in the world with me, Ricky, and AB there, but it falls off, considerably after probably the top 5, 6 rated players. Where, in the past when you'd play Vegas and then you could play Memorial before you went to Texas, like stuff like that. Or if I remember the order correctly, you actually had quite a few people there. But I think, all the boys and I played last year when it was just it was after the first event of the year where the other guys, either they have something going on or they just didn't want to play disc golf this early. Like that's kind of probably the reason they didn't want to come out.
Yeah.
But I'm always down to play. I think I had a duty to fulfill with being the defending champion. I knew that. I love being there. A week at Rick's house, obviously, and so my caddy also had to defend his title, which he did. So that's pretty cool.
Shut up. We don't care. Nobody's talking about him.
After he whooped up on Johnny V here.
Play better.
Yes, I should have.
Is there any tape of Johnny V's rewinding in the last few episodes of you talking trash about beating Matt? Here on the show?
I said I was going to try to beat him. Not that I was going to.
I think it was a little more direct than that.
No, I was challenging him.
Where's our associate producers?
Let's pull back the tape.
I think it's out there.
I think the downside, well, going back to like moving it up here into January, I think the downside is that Vista just looks burnt out this time of year.
Yeah.
It's a fine course. The skips are pretty much the same as between now and March, but the course just looks so dead. Versus in 2 months, or a month and a half would say, when things are going to look a little bit greener at Vista. But if we move it to March, I don't know how many more people we're going to get come from the Florida area all the way over to Arizona, then all the way back over to probably a Waco or something. It's probably the second event. Maybe there's another Florida event. So I think that they're in a really funny position to decide what they want to do with the future of this. If they can, maybe early February is a better time and push it back two more weeks. I don't know.
Would they ever do it like in May, like before you go to the West Coast? I know it's probably hotter, but like we play hot places anyway, so like you might as well.
Yeah. Then you start getting into. I think that area, the Las Vegas Challenge, kind of likes that kind of that area. But not to say we couldn't find a different weekend. But yeah, I think that it's really on the Memorial to decide what they want. If they care about having some of the bigger pros and figuring that perfect weekend out.
What was the conversation like with we'll say Silas and Alden, Babcock, all the guys you kind of normally travel and hang with? I know some of your other friends are doing other things like being in other countries, but all of those guys were just like, we're not going to go out there and let you beat us again this year, or what? None of them.
Yeah, Ezra's in New Zealand.
New Zealand, yeah.
Silas, I don't know. I think he just wanted to stay home, I guess. And then Alden definitely wanted to stay home. Isaac obviously was going through the bag switch.
Sure.
So, and he just got married. So there's that makes sense. Gavin,
Isaac played a local event this weekend, I believe. Shot like a 10-25 or something, 10-20.
Okay.
No, he shot like a 9.85 for the first round.
Oh, I didn't see the first round.
He was down 10 after round 1, and he won by 2.
Wow.
Nice comeback.
Yeah, good comeback, Isaac. Clutch after that bad start. Gavin had a elbow injury that he didn't throw for at least a month, I believe, in the off season. So he didn't want to come back too early, and he's just getting the feel for things again, obviously. So the only one that doesn't have an excuse are Silas and Alden. Yeah, sorry, guys.
Scared money don't make money.
It's seemingly scared, and maybe financially it made sense for them not to go out there and get beat by Gannon. Coming back, you and Matt Schlebach traveled together, I assume, right? You guys both got back in. Did you come back today or yesterday?
We got back yesterday.
Okay. What's next?
I believe I'm just staying home for until the season starts.
Are you heading out to the East Coast for the convention?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I'll be there at the Disc East.
The Disc East, okay.
Yeah. I'll be there, so I'll be selling some cool stamps and stuff. And Matt's gonna go with me, so it's gonna be a fun weekend once again.
Nice. Okay. So, and obviously we're gonna be talking to Ben once we wrap up with you. So we're gonna get even more details on this weekend, and that has really grown. Were you at the event last year?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So this would be your first time going out there for it.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds really exciting. I'm kind of mad that I'm flying out myself to another country come Saturday because I would really enjoy being there. And I know that they're going to be doing another one in Texas on March 1st and 2nd, but I believe that's the same weekend that goes up against the opener of this season for the Pro Tour.
Yeah.
Which coincidentally, I know we were just talking about schedules, and maybe it would have changed, maybe it wouldn't have, but that weekend is essentially the same weekend that we would have probably seen the Memorial on if things were of all normal. So, hindsight 2020 or just maybe, coincidental scheduling or whatever, but it seemed to work out really well that didn't become a conflict for you at all this year, at least.
Yeah.
It's got to be unique to think that you are crowned champion at the Memorial in the last configuration of that course, like ever. Does history play a part in your experience here?
I mean, for sure. Like any course that I watched growing up, and especially the Memorial, just because I feel like it's such an iconic event. Yeah, just any course like that is just gonna be really cool for me to play. And I like to describe Arizona, at least in my opinion, it's really fun to visit for like a week or two. I wouldn't want to live there, but it's like a super fun place to be for just a little bit of time.
You wouldn't want to live there because it gets so hot in the summer, or it's not the kind of golf you like, or what would be a reason that you wouldn't want to live in Arizona?
Yeah, it's not one, definitely not the quite kind of golf I like. But the main thing for me is, you know, I like the scenery, I guess. It gets cool, but I definitely like having grass just to just even look at, like having just life, I guess, in general. Like over there in the desert, everything just wants to kill you. Um, Cactuses, rocks, you know, all that type of stuff, animals as well. Um, and it still gets kind of cold at night if in the winter a little bit. Uh, but yeah, I definitely like to have like big green trees. I've always liked nature, and so when I go there, I don't really see much nature. It's kind of just all dead.
Yeah, I mean it's a different style of nature, for sure, and I
Yeah,
understand.
definitely different style.
Do you participate? Have you gone on any hikes or anything out there with some of the mountains and whatnot, the hills and
I
such?
went on a hike on Grandfather Mountain, I believe, in North Carolina with Justin Rozak and Brandon Lotta in 2023, and that's like my only hike I've ever done.
Okay. All right. Well, so
Yeah.
maybe AB and crew need to get you out somewhere in Arizona to take in some more of it. Is there anything, and I'm guessing that's already been either released or discussed, but anything else that needs to be reemphasized for this upcoming season for you, sponsorship wise, schedule wise, just things that are that we should all be expecting to see here in 2025?
Yeah, I'm still with Squatch and Discmania, obviously. I'm gonna have a lot of new disc releases. My Squatch bag just came out.
Okay.
So if people want to get that, they can order it, squatchdiscgolf.com. Um, I'm gonna be playing as much disc golf as I possibly can. So I'm gonna be playing probably a lot of the go throw events just because they're unsanctioned, so I can kind of experiment with some different types of game plans and game styles. I think that's kind of cool. And then obviously going to go to Europe. I believe I'm going to miss the Turku Open because the World Games is happening in China, and I got selected to represent the USA.
Oh,
So
congratulations!
After World,
congrats.
thank you. Yeah. After Worlds, the plan is to go to China, and then straight from China to Ledgestone. So it's going to be my sleep schedule is going to be messed up.
Yeah. It certainly that sounds like a recipe for a little bit of chaos. With even though you've done more and more traveling, sometimes it's still with the amount of play that you're doing, and then travel, and then trying to come back and reset, and then play an event like Ledgestone, which is a 4-round, grueling battle usually as well. But and I apologize if you've stated this otherwise, but is it a legitimate goal of yours to try and somehow supersede the 211,000 in earnings you did this year? Is that possible?
I don't know because like I could win more events, and I don't even have that. It's like I won pretty much every high paying event. I won all the elite pluses. I won one of the two playoffs. I won two of the four majors, and I won the Pro Tour Finals, which is the highest paying event, while getting top 10 every event except for one. And so it's like, and with the Memorial win, which is a good payday, is 5,500. So that helps definitely for sure. But yeah, the only way to do that is winning a lot, because even place every single event wouldn't even come close to that. You got to be winning, and yeah, I mean, got to win the big events. So I mean,
and the go throw ones won't count towards your tally because they're not sanctioned. Because they're not PDGA sanctioned. So
I mean, like realistically, I don't think that record's going to get broken for at least 5 years, but could be longer. But I think I could definitely win 10 events, but who knows if the money's going to line up.
So you're kind of hinting at how the plateau of the purses this year. We've seen a lot with the off season. How was it for you this off season, sitting and watching all of the other chaos? Because this year you didn't have to worry about any of it, but some of the guys in your crew that you hang with, they obviously, Ezra and Isaac, they went to different places. We've seen, a lot of different moving around, and we still might see more. I mean, the off season's not over. How's it been for you being able to sit back and just kind of just chuckle that you went through all this last year?
I mean, it's not as fun for me. I like trolling, and the excitement of throwing a new company is incredible, especially after you'd have been doing it for so long with the same company. It's just, just revives your love for the game. I already love the game a ton, but it just made me love it more, basically. It just kind of feels like a new opportunity, a fresh start, and a good way to brand yourself. But yeah, I mean, it was cool, like, kind of being in the know of what they were going to do, but not telling anyone. Like, it's kind of cool to get information early. But I was definitely involved a little bit with, talking to them if they had any questions or advice on where they should go, or even, trying to help them with some of the deal. It's I think because I've been through quite a bit of it, I know, maybe what they are worth or what they deserve, and certain things that they would want in a contract that I have. So it was cool to, either just let them know my peace of mind on that type of stuff.
That makes me now ask, what's the favorite line in your contract? Like, what's the favorite, if you could pick out one single piece of bonus or incentive or reward or whatever, or maybe just a guarantee, maybe it's the guaranteed amount per year, whatever it is. If you had to pick like one line out of your contract and it, like, you look at it and you're like, yeah, or it makes you smile, what would you say that is?
Probably my world's bonus.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to assume it's hefty.
It's hefty.
It's hefty.
Hefty for a hefty tournament.
Hefty.
Do you know, does Isaac have that similar bonus maybe for his contract?
I don't know his exact bonus structure, but I don't know. I think it'd be hard to top.
Yeah, just because he's been the one that's been standing in your way the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And he affectionately refers to you as Mr. Zero Time. So,
yep.
So I didn't know if there was maybe a little nudging going back and forth between the two of you. So.
Yeah, and
nope.
And I'll just say it's interesting to hear you say that, because I think back to now almost 10 years ago. I guess I'm getting old. Having a conversation with Paul Macbeth, who talked about how at one point one of his bonuses was structured in the sense that it kind of built year after year. A one-time championship. Your second one was worth, X plus Y. Your third one was worth whatever, and they kind of consecutively built on one another. And I've got to assume, with the importance that comes, the importance that is the world title, I could see some of these companies really, really incentivizing and dangling that even larger carrot just right off the bat. and maybe is that something that you petitioned for, lobbied for, or asked for? Was a large world's bonus, or is that just something that they came to the table with?
They kind of came to the table with that. I was mostly focused on just normal Elite Series bonuses, and so I got a pretty good number. What I felt like wasn't as high as some, but it was definitely good enough. And so once I got that, it was kind of just I guess they just threw it out there, and that's what it was. So it was pretty cool. Um, that for me too, like it's not really like a huge incentive. It's more of just like a obviously what it is. It's called a bonus. It's just like a kind of the cherry on top of for winning the event. Like
Sure.
People have heard me say I don't care about the money that I win at events or my bonuses, but obviously like I want to get either paid fairly or who doesn't want to have a little bit more cash in their pocket, So it's definitely important, but not the thing that drives me to get wins or anything.
Can you share that bonus? Can you share that amount?
I don't believe I can.
You probably can.
I probably could, but I'd probably get kicked off in a day or something.
Okay, maybe not.
You talk to him.
Maybe I'll ask, and maybe we'll figure out if we can report on it someday. I think it's exciting. Whatever it is, especially if it's something that you think about when I ask you the question about your contract, and that's what comes to mind. Clearly, I think it must be a significant amount, and maybe they'll be happy to share it. And I totally respect you not knowing for sure if you should or shouldn't. So it's better to err on the side of not sharing. But that'd be curious.
So with the $5,500 this weekend, you have yourself a good start to the season. We still have a little bit more off season. It's probably very bitter cold in Des Moines, like it is here and on a lot of places around the country.
Yep.
Are you keeping yourself busy indoors? Do you have any new Lego projects that you have? Anything big that you're building?
I haven't placed one Lego brick this offseason.
Oh, what are you doing, buddy?
I'm sorry.
Are you just out of sets? Honestly, is there just nothing that's really interested you, or have you been too busy?
No, I got one. I got the Harry Potter castle. I went to like 2 or 3 of the like 50 bags that it takes to build it. But then I just got like super busy and stuff and haven't been home, and there's just a lot of stuff to do. Like I haven't been home for more than I think 2 weeks at a time. And then I kind of just forget about it. And I'm like, well, I'll start it after I get back. And it hasn't happened yet. I will do it before I start tour. I promise that. So after this expo, I'll be home for at least 2 or 3 weeks. And so I'll do it then.
Someone asked, I guess this goes hand in hand with your spare time, so to speak. Someone asked if you watch coverage, whether it's of yourself or of other events. And I said, yeah, he consumes stuff. Have you gone back?
The first viewer on the coverage this weekend.
So there's my question is, have you gone back and A, have you watched it? And then B, anything you need to clarify that either myself or Parker misspoke on from this weekend?
Gosh. Let me think. I need to think of something.
Because if I'm wrong at any point, I want to hear it. I should know these things. You're not going to hurt my feelings.
Yeah, because it's funny because that's like one of my biggest pet peeves is people giving like wrong information on coverage.
Okay. You should probably unsubscribe then to me.
Even I was watching the Upshot podcast this morning, and they were, they're like, 13 downs, great and all, but we've seen 17 downs at the Memorial, but I was like, it was a 13 at Vista.
Vista. That's why all the podcasts all suck.
I listen to the Upshot too because I need to know what not to say. So, but yeah, I caught that as well, and it just you're kind of laughing. You're like, they hate on the Memorial enough, and I get it. Like it is a factor of its time, but still, get your facts straight, boys.
I definitely didn't play my best the event. Like there's probably I could definitely find 10 strokes that I could get back easily. I can think of 9 of them right now off the top of my head, and those were all my bogeys or worse on easy holes. The first round, hole 7, 200-foot hole, I should birdie every time. I double it. Hole 8, I bogeyed both rounds at Fountain, and I almost count that as a gimme in my head. And then I bogey 8, the island hole at Vista, which everyone else on my card birdied, and then I bogeyed 14 at Vista, which everyone else on my card birdied. It's like the two easiest holes in the course, and I bogeyed them. That's 9 strokes right there I could have got back. But the reason that kind of made me mad a little bit was, you know, I wanted to get credit for how good that round was, and it's like, there's probably maybe 3 to 5 guaranteed birdies for me at Vista, but there's probably like 10 at Fountain, and so it's a completely different course with completely different danger. And then they were just like, it wasn't that good. It was good, but not that good. It's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Like 13 at Vista it's pretty good, guys. 13 at Fountain.
Yeah, especially with like.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, hole 5 and hole 9, I basically play for par. So in my mind, I only missed like 3 holes.
All right. Well, so if nothing immediately races to your mind of something that me or Parker said on the coverage, then we must not have said too much erroneous or incorrect stuff.
It's probably like, and I cut a considerable amount of Gannon shot out here, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, I didn't mention it, even if I did do it. I didn't mention it once this weekend. Me trimming out your you.
No, I think you did. You said it was hole 5 round 1. You're like, I cut out some
contemplation,
considerable or deliberation. On my knee putt on hole 5, you're like,
yeah, you took forever.
Stances, and I wasn't. I went straight to my knee and putted it. I believe.
No, you did. That's what I showed. You went back and forth a couple different times about standing there, and then you kneeled. Don't make me get the video out. I've got the damn proof.
It was a hell of a putt, though.
Yeah, it was a good putt.
It was a great putt from your knee hitting that. I think I almost walked up. I think I walked up on hole 4. That round, and then I got to watch 4, 5, and again I was fortunate enough to see in person, and then I was like, wow, Gannon's not playing so hot as after that.
Putts too. I changed my. I always putt horrible at the Memorial. I think it's just like I also have bad memories here. Like I just consistently putt bad at the Memorial, and I think that either stems from early season, and it's so much different. You can make every putt in the basement or in practice, but it's just going to be different at the tournaments. Like you might lose the rhythm, whether you get it back as the year goes on or as you play more rounds or holes. But I mean, there's so many elevated baskets. The wind almost feels stiffer just because there's no trees in the way to block anything. And like at Vista, when you have an elevated basket and literally dead grass, if you miss a putt, you're almost always outside the circle. And so I had some scaredy cat runs, and that on top of my putt feeling bad, I was just like I airballed one like 60 feet down the hill on hole 16, round 3. Like I knew I had to run it, but I was just like shaking because my putt felt so bad, and I knew I had to go for it. And I knew AB was pulling away, and so at that point I was down. I hit like a 45-footer uphill to go down 6, and I was like, this is horrible. So I ended up switching my putt. I used one hand instead of 2, and I brought it a little more left to start. And then I started, my putt felt good, and I only missed one the final round, and I think it was like a longer one.
Yeah. It's everything seemed to eventually come together for you just fine. Well, before we let you go, any final shout outs or sponsor recognition or anyone else, anything else you need to do before we cut you out of here?
Same thing I said at the Memorial. Thanks to Terry for the coverage. Thanks to my caddy Matt for getting his win and then helping me out as well. He did some like live Facebook coverage and people really enjoyed that, so that was cool to see.
He has to stand further away from our cameras next time though, so it doesn't bleed into.
I talked to him.
Our camera.
I talked to him on the final round about that, and he said, "Yeah, just tell me to freaking move if I'm in your way."
He just has to. That's the only thing. He just has to move so the audio, because then people are going to get confused as to like where they're hearing it from. But anyway, go on with your. Sorry to interrupt. Go on.
Yeah, he's never going to film ever again. He promises.
Yeah, he will, as he should.
And then, thanks to the tournament people that set the event up and just make it a great event. It definitely feels bigger than an age here to me. So just the fact of that you can tell they put a lot of work into the event and effort. Yeah, and just thanks to everyone who came out and watched. And don't hate me too bad because I beat AB at his hometown.
It's
just his family hates you. Don't worry.
It's a funny place to be. That if you keep on winning, yes, you keep gaining your fans, and like you said, your diehards are going to be that much more excited and rolling with you. And then at the same time, everyone else is saying anyone but. So you keep doing what you're doing, and I'm sure it'll all sort itself out just fine. Well, Gannon, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Congratulations on a really solid weekend of play as well. And we hope that you have a good time out there in Massachusetts for the Disc East Expo. And we're looking forward to kicking off the season when we'll see you on the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
Yep, I'm excited. I feel ready.
All right, pal.
Yeah,
have a good night.
As
Thank
you should. All right, have a great night,
guys. See ya.
Yeah.
Bye.
I got to quit saying it. Disc East Expo is nearly impossible to spit out cleanly.
The Disc East Expo?
Yeah. Say it 3 more times.
No.
Exactly.
I ventured and spit it out there, and I nailed it. So I'm going to
good concentration.
I'm going to move on from that.
We're going to have Benjamin Kenny join us, so he can tell us more about how to pronounce it, possibly. But he'll be joining us in just a few moments. He's now got an open line, so if he wants to click on his link, he can do just that. And we can talk a little bit more about it. I believe you talked with him about this last year while I was en route to Thailand.
Correct, and we'd even mentioned how there was works of another one, and now this year we are going to see another one. So it's great.
Well, it sounds like I'm going to learn even more about it, which is pretty exciting. And as Gannon was just saying, he's gearing up. I know I had the list up earlier today. It's just disceast.com will also get you there for this weekend's information, checking out all the different vendors and sponsors and everyone else that's going to be available. It's pretty cool.
And before Ben comes on, let's real quick go over some of the results of the Memorial.
Sure.
As we know, we talked to our winner tonight, Gannon Buhr, who comes back from 4 strokes in the final round to beat AB. Second place was Ezra Aderhold, tied with Anthony Barella at 39. Eagle McMahon in 4th place. Eagle, who doesn't usually play this event, and almost withdrew before the first round due to just not feeling quite right after a practice round. 5th place, Ricky Wysocki. 6th place, your commentary partner, Parker Welk. 7th place, Nick Newton. 8th place, Noah Meinsma and Jake Brown. 10th place, Ryan Jewell and Cody Wood. And over on the FPO side, no question, Jen Allen. She wins by 15 over Natalie Ortiz. 3rd place was Violet Main at 4 over, and in 4th place was Ashley Phelps. Real quick, the MP40, Kale LaVisca steamrolled the field. He won
Must be all that new plastic.
It's got to be. He's going back to something that feels different. So it's just that renewed excitement in the Discraft plastic. It clearly didn't hurt him as he shot 30 under par. Pete Ulibarri was in 2nd at 18. I got a chance to sit and chat with Pete quite a bit this weekend. It was really quite a pleasure. And in 3rd place, Joshua Johnson and Danny Polk. Danny Polk, one of the greatest guys around.
Those MP40 people know where it's at. Well, where all the action is at is this upcoming weekend out on the East Coast. And what that means is somebody has to somehow corral all of these people, keep things organized, set up vendors, set up distributors, organizers, ticket sales, everything else. And the guy that's in charge of all of that is one Ben Kenny. Ben.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, welcome back.
How you guys doing?
It's been a solid year since we've had you on.
Exactly a year. Or same week. It's been awesome.
The question, first and foremost, is how in the world do you have time to have a conversation with us right now, a few days before the event you're about to host? Shouldn't you be like running around with your head cut off right now? Like, should be a little bit chaotic, shouldn't it?
It's so funny you say that because I've told probably 3 separate people today. It feels like I'm a chicken with my head cut off today, just running around scrambling.
Exactly.
I'm getting married in April. Had to get a suit fitting today, so it's hard to balance everything going on. But yeah, it's definitely pressure's building. But I'm also very excited. I've prepared for this, so I'm excited to finally to reveal to everyone what I've been working on for the past year.
Love it. Well, first, congrats on the upcoming nuptials in April.
Thank you.
What you should have done is planned your trip. They make, really inexpensive handmade suits, tailored suits in Thailand. I don't know if you know this, but you should just, I might get one, next week myself. But anyway, so you should have been doing that. But maybe it's not as time
sensitive. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. This weekend, hosting the event, just break it down. If people have no idea somehow what we're talking about, what are we going to see this weekend?
So this weekend is Disc East. And what Disc East is, it's a disc golf expo, convention, whatever you want to call it. And basically it just brings the top brands, pro shops, pros, manufacturers all together under one place and they all vend, and it's basically in a disc golf amusement park, as I like to call it. It's the place you need to be if you love disc golf. We got seminars, we got meet and greets, we got autographs, we have exclusive disc drops. It's insane how many exclusive discs are being dropped this weekend. It's kind of mind-blowing. So really, if you love disc golf, it's just the place to be, because it's everything you've ever dreamed of, all in one hotel conference center.
When you talk about disc drops, that is vendors and retailers that have special stamps, or is that an actual manufacturer that's coming out with something exclusive? What have you been hearing?
So yeah, it's a mixture of both. Mostly it's the disc drops, but like Brixton, the card company is actually dropping a new box there. I think it's like the owner's box. They're going to announce their new co-owners, and they're dropping a cool expo exclusive pack there with some people that will be at the expo. But mostly, yeah, I'm talking about discs. Pretty much every major manufacturer you can think of is going to be dropping something that has not been seen yet in disc golf. For example, like VIP ticket holders are going to get a rare, limited, exclusive VIP disc with their MVP disc. It's a three letter. They're going to get an exclusive MVP disc with their order that has not been created yet. I should say with the plastic. The disc is out, but the plastic has not been made in this particular mold. So stuff like that. It's just a lot of different kind of drops, just exclusive drops at the expo that you can only get there, that these manufacturers create specifically for the attendees at the expo.
How many are you expecting? I know it's going on Saturday and Sunday. How many are you expecting, one or both days?
So I'm expecting at least 2,000 people. That's what I'm expecting. I would love to hit that 3,000 mark. We hit 2,000 last year, so that's why I can say that confidently. I'd love to hit that 3,000 mark, but as of right now, I can definitely expect 2,000 people to come through the doors at the expo.
Yeah, because I think last year we were talking 1,500, and you were hoping to hit 2,000. I thought that's what you had said,
exactly.
So.
That's a good memory. Yeah, that was my goal last year, was to hit 2,000, and we did it, and it was awesome. And this year, maybe 2,500 should be my goal. But
shoot for the stars, Ben. Shoot for the stars.
Would be awesome. Yeah, that would be awesome.
And then I'm looking at the website right now, which is disceast.com. And I'm seeing that the vendor hour, or excuse me, that general admission hours are Saturday 10 to 7 and Sunday 10 to 5. And then it says Disc East opens at 9 a.m. exclusively for VIP ticket holders.
Yes.
Do you have to go online? Can you do it in person? Is there an incentive to do it one way or one time or another? Break down what they should be doing.
Yeah, so for the VIP tickets, you have to order online solely based on they're just going to be sold out by the time you show up to the expo. But if you want to pay at the door, that is completely fine too. I just encourage everyone to order online, just so it's so much easier. We scan you in, we get the wristband on you pre-show hours. So like we're in the parking lot, let's say for general admission, we'll be in the parking lot in the line scanning people's tickets pre-show and getting their wristbands on. So then it'll just be an easier process to get right into the expo rather than, waiting in a separate line for cash. All we really need to see is the wristband, and we're going to let people in and stuff like that. But you can 100% order at the door. In fact, a lot of people do. It's just ultimately what you prefer.
And when, well, I guess, how many vendors are going to be there? And then are there any vending opportunities that remain, or are we just too late in that process?
So I think we have around close to 50 vendors, maybe 50 right now. And that fills up over 90 booths. Okay. So some vendors get a bunch of booths, depending on what, like Discraft is bringing Ken Climo, Paul Macbeth, and AB. So obviously they're going to have a big spread of just like, a booth just for the players, a booth for Climo Disc Golf, a booth for their regular stock, and a booth for the exclusive disc. So it really just depends. But yeah, it's over 90 vendor booths filled. But yeah, right now it's around 50 different companies are going to be at the expo. As for we are pretty much sold out. I said I had one vendor booth left. I don't think that's the case anymore. So yeah, if you want to come, reach out to me and I might be able to squeeze you in, but it's pretty much
you might be in the hall for a slight discount. Is that how it goes?
Yeah, exactly.
I've worked enough shows.
You might be in the hall.
I've been to enough shows where I've set up disc golf in terms of promoting it to schools or parks departments that there's usually a hallway somewhere that you can fit into.
Yeah, exactly. And there definitely is a hallway people can fit into. My goal is to not put anyone in the hall. I want everyone in the main vendor room. So if you vend here, you're going to be in the main vendor rooms most of the time, unless, like I said, you absolutely want to come and we're sold out, and that's the only, and you're okay with that.
And is this the exact same location as last year? And then will it be the same location, assuming you do it next year? Is this a perfect spot for you to be hosting this?
So it is the same location as last year.
Okay.
As for the future, I've been trying to get into a different convention center that is more open, so we can fit all the vendors in one room and extend our vendors. Because right now, like I said, I'm sold out. Ideally, I'd want to keep growing this to the point where every brand in disc golf has to come and show what they got going on, that. So we're a little maxed out as of right now, but in the future, we'll see what happens. But as of right now, we're going to stick to what we got. And if we can get into the other convention center in the proper dates, because that's important, then we'd probably move. Just have a little bit extra space. Like I'd love to have, actually in Texas, we're in a 40,000 square foot convention center. But I'd love to have like a putting course inside the expo and just so many more activities. Right now, we have activities. We have like an MVP mini course, which has been a hit and has been really fun. We have the seminars, we have tech disc, but I'd love to, and we have a temporary 9-hole course actually outside, but I'd love to like get more of that amusement side into the expo. So that would be the goal.
Okay. I love it. As I was just saying, I think about one thing that I've gone to for roughly the last 20 some years is the Wisconsin Physical Education Show, where basically all the different vendors who are offering both old and new products of all sorts will set up their booths in a similar fashion. And then the, athletic directors and gym teachers and phy ed teachers and so on and so forth, all those types, go there and then check out product. I've had disc golf at that for many years, but my favorite time is the night before the show starts, is to walk around and then talk to all the other vendors, because they have all these different products and you're seeing some of these things, I've seen pickleball, I've seen other things, for many, many years before some of this stuff gets onto a larger stage. And it's just such an awesome environment to see so many different people all under one roof, all at one place, all passionate about their own company or craft or, kind of project or whatever it might be, or endeavor. Some of these people are starting brand new, entrepreneurial things. And I feel like it's just the same here. Where's your mix between developed, standard product versus, we'll say, newer to market ideas or concepts or softer line things that maybe aren't just a physical disc?
Yeah. So first I want to touch on what you said. Exactly nailed it on the head. Just the opportunity it brings everyone under one roof. We got the biggest manufacturers and the new people. That's that as you're talking about, all under one roof, just nerding about the same thing, passionate. It's just that's exactly it. It's the mecca of networking, or one of them, and that's what I tell a lot of these newer companies. I'm like, if you want to get your product out there, this is a great place to start, because it's basically 2,000 people walking into your storefront on a Saturday or Saturday, Sunday, and you get to pitch to them. And the mixture is, I'd say we do each year we do get a bunch of newer ideas. Like right now, this guy named Recover Disc, he's developing a new software, a disc recovery software. No one's really ever heard of this, obviously, but it's something he wanted to try. But we also have companies like Discraft and Innova and Gateway that have been around, since the beginning of time, it seems. But so it's definitely a mixture. I'd say we do on average get 3, 4, 5 brand new kind of companies trying to make their way. Like we've had Disc AI, we've had Pure Disc Golf, the app, if you know what that is. We've had Stickman Carts, which is a new winning cart that up here that a man has created, and it's really high quality. So that's what makes me so excited just about the thing that I do. It's just bringing everything together and making people just happy and just passionate. It's just honestly, I don't know. It warms my heart. That is my favorite thing. Literally, like you were saying, the nights where we're all playing mini golf in the lobby till 2 a.m. with Big Germ and Robbie C, because they're just staying at the hotel. So that stuff. And we're having karaoke this Saturday. So I'm trying to incorporate more after expo things for expo attendees.
Well, we all know if the expo is going well, that means the next day doesn't. So Sunday morning, things might be a little rough if Saturday's too much fun. I know all too well about some of that. I've been told about it.
Yes.
So how many people are making a what you feel like is a significant journey or trek? And I guess I'm saying this is East Coast. Obviously, you're going to have a huge draw from so many diehards in that area. Are you seeing some people making getting on planes and coming over just for this? What's kind of your overall demographic been looking like for that?
Yeah, so I have my vendors pulled up right here. I'd say I'm looking through them. I'd say more than 50% is traveling, not local to New England, to vend at this expo, which I'm very, very grateful for, and it's been incredible. But yeah, it's a lot of people are traveling from Colorado, Michigan, Maryland, New Jersey, California. I've had Texas to make the journey to vend at the expo because they see it as valuable, and that's my goal. That's why I do it, is because I want to provide value, one, for attendees, for people to just have an amazing time in the sport they love, but also two, there's a back part to it where I also want to help out these companies that might be struggling in January, because it's cold. No one's really disc golfing unless you're in Arizona, but no one's really buying discs around this time. So it's kind of like a two-way street where I want to bring the best show for the attendees, but I also want these the brands and pro shops, especially local pro shops, to make a little extra money, turn over some inventory for the new year, so they can kind of start off fresh and really just comfortable, I guess, where they can blow out some discs that weren't selling or make some extra revenue that they wouldn't have otherwise had. So
Do you feel like your attendees are sprawling out, or with the addition of the Southern Expo, maybe some people are holding off till that one comes? What's kind of the attendees been looking like?
So in terms to like how many?
Location. Like,
where are they coming from? Are you getting
mostly East Coast people, or are people
where's
traveling
your
for that
draw
as well?
in terms of the actual attendees? Have from maybe some of your ticket sales that you've seen so far? Or maybe
So I'd say a majority of the attendees are from New England, just because it's an easy trip. 3 hours, and you can stay over. It's definitely worth it. New England's so close, where it's right in the center of Massachusetts, where like it's a 30-minute trip from New Hampshire, maybe 45 minutes from Vermont, Connecticut, 30 minutes from Rhode Island, all like that. So it is definitely locally. But like I said, I've had people from all over come, like Indiana, Texas again. I'd have to even think. I don't really know, because the people they would have to tell me. I don't like. I'm not able to track where they're from, if that makes sense, based off the tickets. But I'd say it is mostly local.
Okay, and I was just to throw it out there, doing a little bit of Google mapping. I see that this particular hotel, just for a reference point for everyone, is about 40 minutes from Maple Hill. So if anyone wants to, use that as a reference point, it looks like you're about 40 minutes northeast of Maple Hill.
Yes.
That sounds accurate to you?
Correct. Yeah, Maple Hill is literally, that's another reason to come fly out and stay over, and because you get to play Maple Hill. And there's a lot of incredible courses around here that have been coming up. Like Simon and Casey just recently designed a course called Mile Marker 63, which will be vending at the Expo. Meadowbrook Disc Golf, number 2 course in Massachusetts, will be vending at the Expo. So there's a lot, Massachusetts, Central Mass especially, is kind of booming in a cool, very cool way, where the past few years, the new courses have been easily top 5 courses in Massachusetts, and we'll see it in the UDisc rankings, I do believe. So it's definitely a great place to travel and visit. Just not during the winter, unless it's for the Expo.
Yeah, a few caveats there. Let's quickly just, this was such a big success that you've had to expand. So for the first time ever, you're taking this to Texas as well.
Yes.
And we're talking, another 5 or 6 weeks after this one. Same idea, just down in the Dallas, Texas area. Is that right?
Yes.
What's better, bigger, smaller, different?
Everything's bigger in Texas.
Yeah,
that's
exactly. So that's why I ask.
Exactly.
Would there be any reason for someone to go to both, or is one worth it, or one or the other?
So yes, 1,000%. There is a reason to go to both.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, right now, Disc East is more popular,
Mm-hmm.
just because Disc South has never happened. But the reason to go to both is because we might get some of the same manufacturers, but even new manufacturers. Like, we're getting Infinite Discs to come down, Mint Discs to come in Disc South. But the manufacturers that we have here, like Discraft, MVP, are all going to be dropping a different exclusive disc.
What?
So that at Disc South. So that's another reason, but that's one of the bigger reasons. But yeah, it's really the variety of vendors. You're not going to get the same vendor pool out there, and it's going to be a different show. And obviously, it's going to be a little warmer in Texas, so you could literally plan a vacation where you go to the Expo, and then I'm hoping to get it the weekend before Waco, but then eventually, but go to the expo, stay over, then you get to go see the pros play in Waco, like an hour south. So you could kind of plan this whole trip around it. So that's the main reasonings that I think it is worth it to go to both if you're able to. Obviously, I'm not expecting you. That's why I brought it to the south, because I felt like this expo needed to reach more people that might not be able to go, and I wanted to provide that for attendees in the community.
Yeah, and I think just to hit the nail on the head, you already hit the nail on the head with the fact that there's going to be the variety. You may have some carryover, and you're going to have some that are going to be at both. But then just looking at your list and knowing some of these people, I'm assuming Yeti Disc, without looking at Disc East, Yeti Disc is going to be at the Disc South, but not the Disc East. DFX Disc, Legit Disc Golf. These are great companies, but they're obviously regional to that area. They'll be vending at that one, and maybe won't have a presence then over at the Disc East. So just the fact that although the concept's the same, you have these newer, there's going to be some turnover and some fresh faces if you were to go to both. You'll have some overlap, Correct. But then you also have some fresh opportunities as well. Big Country Beef Jerky is not going to probably be at Disc East, if I had to guess. So, because they're located right out of Texas, so it makes sense, and so that's why I could see it certainly being worth going to that one as well, or the fact that if you go to one, it's not just like going to the other. Does that? Not at all. You did say though. In the South version, there is more room to work with in the convention center. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah. So we have the possibility to get over 200 vendor booths filled.
Okay.
So when I say vendor booth, that's a 10 by 10 standard expo booth, a single booth, but we have the potential. And that's why I started in this, because I don't want to have the hassle of moving. Once people know in a location, it's kind of just ingrained and they expect it every year over year.
Sure.
So that's the biggest thing is my plan is to do this hopefully for the rest of my life and grow it year over year. That's part of the reason why I did the name change. I wanted the disc golf industry showcase, to be the staple of expos that you have to attend, because it is the expo that you have to attend. I guess I said it twice. But yeah, that's my goal, is just to make it just big. I'm talking like I don't know, the popular conventions, PGA show, CES, PAX, stuff like that. That's my goal.
All right. When this is in Vegas, I mean, not that I won't go to the others, but when we're in Vegas,
and then we get everybody under one roof, and
just saying, I'm definitely going to be at that one as well. How many realistically do you think this would expand to? Having the East and the South right now. Let's just play pretend and fast forward 15 years, 15 pretty good years.
Okay.
How many more locations realistically would be happening on an annual basis? You got the East and the South, 2, 3, 5 more locations. How many more would you think you'd love to have?
So 15 years is actually a great timeline, because if you said within the next few years, I'd say I don't think it'd be that feasible, just because disc golf is big, but it's also small, where there's a few manufacturers. They're not going to go they're not going to go east, south, west. It's just not going to happen. And same with the brands. But 15 years from now, let's just say disc golf is growing and we go through boom again and it's going crazy. I'd say 3 to 4 would kind of be a good, comfortable amount, because I can't also overextend myself. The reason I'm sticking with 2 right now is because I want to make these 2 the best. I don't want to kind of spread myself too thin, and then one will suffer and not really have as much attention. I want to make these ones the boom, this is it. This is disc golf, baby. So that's my goal as of right now. But definitely in the future, I definitely do see me at least doing a third, maybe a fourth. It just is really if it makes sense location wise, and if people are going to show up, and if manufacturers and pro shops and all that are going to show up. Because I don't know. It could I could imagine if I just did 4 right now, one of them would suffer and not really be as successful just because the limited amount of kind of companies in disc golf.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with slow, controlled growth, and you obviously have thought about that. And at a certain point, like you said, there's going to be too much overlap and or saturation or a loss of interest or whatever, and you got to go where where the need is. But I think one more on the somewhere even more west, just for whatever reason, seems like it would feel right, but it may or may not ever, warrant that. You're going to have to see how things go. Clearly some very pressing questions on the board. The first one being led by, the question is, are you going to be re-signing with Hooligan Discs? Do we need an exclusive show for this? Is this a separate?
I'll announce it today.
Oh,
I am now. No, I'm just kidding.
Smashy exclusive.
SmashBox exclusive. Garrett is gonna be at. Well, Garrett is the owner of this. They'll be at the expo and Disc South. So maybe we'll talk there. Talk about a little have signing day or something like that.
Okay.
No comment right now, but I will give you actually a SmashBox exclusive. So obviously,
besides that one,
you mentioned yes.
Okay.
You mentioned Disc South being during the Florida Open.
Yes.
Obviously that I wanted it right before Waco, just didn't work out. It's whatever. I'm not going to be able to get the Simon, Paul, Anthony, Gannon, Ken Climo's there. Well, I guess Ken could come technically. But I'm focusing for Disc South to getting some of the biggest influencers in disc golf. So Foundation Disc Golf and the guys over at there will be in attendance at Disc South,
nice.
March 1st and 2nd.
Sweet.
So that's kind of like the angle I'm trying to take, where obviously you're not going to see the pros as much this year, maybe a few local pros, but I'm trying to get the people that you still love and watch and adore on YouTube. And obviously I would love to have you guys there, but I know Terry, you work with the Pro Tour, and I'm guessing you'll be
I work.
Yeah, in Florida.
Busy, Terry.
I'm no joke. This weekend, as I was, helping promote it and talk about it during the coverage, I was thinking to myself, that sounds great. I think I need to figure out how to go or be part of it or whatever. And then it wasn't until today I looked at the calendar. I'm like, no, wait, that technically is the Florida Open weekend. I was thinking Florida Open was somehow a few days before it or the weekend before it.
Just bail on the Florida Open.
Yeah, maybe.
Come on.
Maybe.
But make sure to wait to tell the Pro Tour.
Yeah, I'll wait to tell the Pro Tour. I'll be like, hey.
The day before. I'm busy.
I can't make it.
Awesome.
I'm really sick, and I'm in Dallas. So
for some
sorry.
Reason.
Yeah. No. So
that'd be
unfortunately.
Awesome. Hey. Yeah, I mean, if you want to come, I got a booth for you, and people would love to see you.
Or I mean, here's the best of both worlds. We just set up the Disc Golf Pro Tour broadcast booth that weekend at the Expo. Then you get Nate and Val to come down. I mean,
that's right.
That's
put you in a little bubble.
Yeah, that's
for the certain amount of money you can commentate for like a hole.
Yeah,
raise some cash. Just random people.
That's so good.
Just like
yes, I'll sell tickets. That's awesome. Sure.
Just don't tell the production crew, Terry. This is a side gig thing. You're like, hey, we're bringing in Joe PDGA number 200556.
Joe gets on. Get in the hole.
That's all he gets to. He just gets to
Joe, get out of here.
He paid his $100 for it.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take the next guy. I don't know.
I love it.
I don't know. Anyway, well, it's all very exciting. Hats off to you. I know there was a really big hubbub, as the kids still say, I'm sure, about the idea of this kind of getting some legs a few years ago, where, Pro Tour / LVC, that like certainly was a start, and then it just didn't really fully materialize. And Infinite and everybody that was involved, that's already getting cloudy. It was a few years ago. To know that you have this background in history and profession of these expos, and then to see you come in and to partner with people like Miles, who we love and adore over at Paragon, and so many others that you work with, and then all the vendors, all the manufacturers, all the individual large and small businesses. Like, this is no small task by any means. And as you just said, nearly 50 vendors to fill 100 spaces, or 90 vendors, and all these people. And then to redo it in another section of the country where you don't even live adds even more challenge and chaos to it all. So as a tournament director, I can put on my tournament director hat and know some of what you're going through. And with that, the whole world, disc golf world, can really applaud and thank you for putting this on your shoulders. It's clearly something that was a good idea and has been needed, but you needed the right people to assemble it and then to run with it. And that's exactly what you seem to be doing right here and now. And the disc golf world certainly should take advantage of being part of it in any way they can. So hats off to you for making this happen.
I appreciate that. I'm very passionate about disc golf. It's since I found it, started playing actively in 2021. It's been an absolute dream to just be able to the progress and the journey that I've had. And, I'm so grateful to give back to the community and stuff like that has treated me so well, and that I'm just absolutely super passionate about this sport. And, I really appreciate that, because I do pour my all into it. This is my full-time job. Like, this is what I do. This is and it's stressful, and it is stressful, and it's a lot of money, and it's not a lot of money being made, but who knows?
That's disc golf, baby.
I'm young.
Exactly. Welcome to disc golf.
A lot of money, not a lot of money being made. But yeah, I'm very, very excited about it and bringing it to Texas. It's just made sense. The community down there is amazing, and and I just want to shout out Marshall Street Disc Golf. So if you know Pyramids, Marshall Street Disc Golf is the pro shop there, is presenting the expo, and Paragon Disc Golf is also presenting the expo. So without the support of those two, I don't even know if I would have been able to really pull it off in Texas. But they've been backing me, and it's been awesome to have them on my side.
Good. Well, I'll just throw it out there. I'm seeing right here on the site, free parking, adults $15 ticket, children 12 and under free. Is that all right?
Yes. So for general admission, it is $15 for adults. Children 12 and under are free. If you want to get the rare VIP disc and get in an hour early to stake your claim on the limited exclusive drops and meet the pros early, then you get in at 9 a.m., which is obviously a different ticket tier pricing.
Excellent. Well, we encourage everyone to go out, and they can either go to disceast.com or they can go to discsouth.com.
I hope you got the other domain set up too. Someone's going to squat on
discgolfexpos.com.
Discgolfexpos.com.
There you go.
Will get you to then links to either of those, and get out there and be part of it. It sounds like a really, just incredible time. And I won't. The more I talk about it, the more I'll just be sad that I'll be not there to experience it. So
you'll be happy. You'll be at the place you love. It's all good.
Well, I'll make it work. I'll find a way. But
he'll suffer. Yeah,
I'll suffer through Thailand. But thank you so much. Thank you for supporting this weekend's coverage over with what we did at the Memorial this weekend, and glad to collaborate and work with you and have us both promoting one another's efforts, and super happy to be doing such.
I appreciate that. And I do want to say, because I was on the podcast a little earlier, obviously listening to Gannon, I do want to say this is to anyone that wants to advertise on the Disc Golf Guys YouTube channel. It is well worth it. It is bananas worth it. It is like you've gone your. I heard you talking to Gannon, saying the ad things I gave you on this podcast, and it's not even you're not even obligated to do it. So that it was well worth it. It was awesome. It was a solid price, and the value you get for it out of this world. So I do recommend, if you have an opportunity to sponsor the Disc Golf the Disc Golf Guy in any capacity, do it, because you'll be getting 20 times the value of what you paid.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. And really that just honestly folds right into that old cheesy line of like, support those who support you. And I feel like that happens, that has the opportunity to happen more and more in disc golf. When you see things pop up on my screen, if you go out and support those companies, they continue to support me. You win, I win, everybody wins. And then, more coverage happens, more things unfold and more opportunities come about. So there is something to be said about, just supporting those who support you. So
absolutely.
Happy to work with you. Super excited. We wish you, of course, the best of luck this weekend, and hope that everyone has a really good time. I'm sure we'll see reports, we'll see videos, we'll see, some of the chaos that unfolds, organized chaos that unfolds.
Yeah, it's going to be
when the weekend's all said and done.
Chaotic. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Just having some of the biggest brands and pros in the sport is a dream come true. And it's only the third year. It's kind of unbelievable just how everything just played out. And that's, I owe it. I owe it to you guys. I owe it to disc golf. Like, disc golf has been absolutely out of this world. And Terry, obviously, I'm sure you feel the way. You're the disc golf guy. Disc golf has just something magic about it where, everyone just kind of supports each other. So it's been awesome, and I hope to see you all this weekend. If you do see me this weekend, come say hi. I'd love to talk and chat. I have hired a lot more staff. I'm not going to be running the social medias this year, so I'll actually have time to enjoy the fruits of my labor and actually manage things rather than just stressing out about everything, because I learned. I was not expecting 2,000 people last year, but now I know what to expect. So come say hi, and I'd love to have you.
Well, enjoy it. Have a good time, and we'll talk sometime soon. Take care.
Yes, sir.
Thanks a lot, Ben.
Thank you so much.
All right. See ya.
Have a nice night.
I thought he was going to quote our boy, Sammy Sosa.
Oh, disc golf been very good to me.
Disc golf been very good to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was close. I thought about it. I did as well, Terry, and that's just goes to show our
and it has been. We are all so incredibly blessed, and obviously that's how we know that we can have a podcast that's going on 11 years in now, just because our disc golf community is so incredibly gracious and supportive. All right, let's take a look. We're going to quickly roll through. I saw you pull up a few other events, so let's roll through real quick some results that we saw in some other tournaments that I wasn't covering.
Yeah, these are some A tiers, and you can probably maybe find coverage of them out there flying around. This one is the 2024 Lake County Trailblazer Pro Weekend, rescheduled from November 2024. I have to say it as part of the name. This was in Eustis, Florida. We talked about it a little bit last week. Winning this one was Andrew Fish in a playoff over Alex Berg. Alex Berg is a name we haven't heard in a while. Third place, Gavin Phillips. Fourth place, Dakota Mincy. And a tie for fifth place between Zach Arlinghouse and Jared Stoll. Over on the FPO side, Jordan Linz wins this. 3 strokes over Sarah Hokum. Third place, Morgan Linz. Fourth place, Lauren Butler. And in fifth place, Nid Ovanthenson. Ovanthenson. Yeah.
Now I confuse myself because I actually know how to say Nid's name. Ovanthenson.
All right. And winning MP40, Batman, Dutch Napier. Johnny McRae, there was a little bit of hubbub over Johnny's round. He shot a 1030 rated 56 out here at the Lake Hiawatha Preserve. I believe that's what they were talking about this weekend. Just a phenomenal round in general.
Yeah, his opening round.
Yeah, his opening round of the season.
Not enough to quite hold on to the win in MP40, which he's eligible to be playing in an MP50 range, but played MP40 where he finished in third. So no surprise, still some solid golf out of Johnny McRae.
Oh, most certainly. Then there was also the TDU, the 2025 Tapo Classic presented by Kosana. This is the New Zealand event. You can probably find this one out on the Go Throw guys. I believe they are out down there covering that. Is that correct?
I believe so.
All right. Aiden Scott wins this, shooting 26 under par, besting Ezra Robinson and Braden Sides, who both shot 20 under par. Robert Burridge at 17 under par, and Chandler Fry taking your 5th place position at 15 under par. The FPO Emily Weatherman wins by a single stroke over Sophia Denecki. 3rd place, Taylor Chosick. Still unsure about that last name, Chosick or Chosick. I'm sticking. 4th place, Juliana Corver. So congratulations to the MPO and FPO. And again, you can catch that footage after you watch the Memorial coverage.
Yeah, watch it.
Don't watch it until you watch the Memorial, because they'll spoil something for you. I don't know how, but they will.
Yes, but they do have it out there, and as you were just saying, I am seeing currently what looks like round 1 on the FPO side is available, and MPO, I am seeing final round. Yeah, so I'm seeing all of the rounds available on the MPO side. So sounds like they're kind of doing what I had done and attempting to do this weekend in giving you all of the MPO, and then going to bust out separately all of the FPO action after as well. So best of luck.
One other thing on the PDGA site, something that I found really kind of interesting. There's a job opening for the PDGA East Africa. It's the PDGA East Africa job opening. The position title is East Africa Regional Coordinator, reports to the International Director. Is the International Director, is that Guru?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, Guru. So just, it's interesting because the geographic scope here, it says, is Ethiopia, Kenya, Rwanda, Tanzania, Uganda, and Zambia. Just the fact that we're getting an East Africa Regional Coordinator is a huge step. And I think a lot of that is due to Paul Macbeth Foundation, Eagles Wings, those types that are helping push our sport over there over the last few years. We now have a position that's going to be hired. It's amazing. I don't know. So if I doubt anyone that's listening to us is probably in this position to do this, but if you are, awesome. Please go out and apply. But there's some pretty cool stuff there.
Yeah, and it lists all sorts of, obviously, the requirements, and then compensation, benefits, all that stuff as well is all listed. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Also in the news, I was going to say, I don't want to diminish it, because that's usually what happens immediately, is when we say something like, there's a sponsorship announcement, and then ultimately someone's like, oh yeah, but that's a local thing. That's kind of what was done, I think, back to when Kristen Lott was mentioned with being sponsored by Porsche. And then everyone's like, yeah, but that's only for Porsche in Estonia. And I always think, yeah, cool. It's still a much bigger Porsche sponsorship than you're getting anywhere ever. Yeah. But anyway, this week, I believe it was posted by Disc Golf Fanatic, who is Estonian, that Kristen, along with a couple of other world-class athletes, I believe all from Estonia, were featured in a Nike ad, where Kristen is shown throwing a disc or twirling a disc on her finger, and then showing her in a couple different throwing motions. Is it a worldwide Nike ad? No, not right now, not necessarily. I don't believe that it is. However, it was something that was released and put out there as well, and I thought that was pretty cool. I always say, it's like everything, it's got to start somewhere, and at no point would I ever think, well, yeah, but it's not like the real thing. And I hate when I see comments like that, because it's like, no matter how cool it is, somebody wants to diminish it. And I don't really see a point or a purpose in that. But it was something that was out there, that was put out there, that looked pretty cool. And as we all know, could be just that, a stepping stone to something more. Just the fact that you can now, in an official capacity, and I get it, there's plenty of people that also just openly want to bash or hate on Nike as a company. I understand that position too. So I'm not tone deaf there. But big picture, you're looking at this, multi-billion-dollar corporation, one of the larger companies in the world, in Nike, that is then associating themselves in some minor capacity in one country with disc golf, with our 2-time world champion in Kristen. And I think that's pretty cool. So
I think it's pretty cool too.
Anyway, that was out there. Just wanted to say congrats to her in having that happen. And I think there was an announcement or two
there's
on her website about a few other things that she, again, more partners, more people that she's sponsored by. So many of her sponsorships coming from outside of disc golf. And I know how Estonia embraces disc golf, and in Europe in general is obviously a very different landscape and atmosphere than it is here in the first place when it comes to disc golf. I get all of that. But Kristen continues to have sponsors and collaborations and partnerships with companies that aren't just disc golf. And that's the number one thing everyone says, is we need sponsors outside of disc golf. And that's exactly what her and her manager are going out there and achieving. So congrats to them.
Some other sponsorship news. It was announced today.
What?
Gavin Rathbun has a manufacturer.
SmashBoxx exclusive.
No, it's not.
Damn it.
Yeah. Has a manufacturer sponsor for the year. He is being sponsored by Prodigy.
Yes.
So we saw that Gavin Rathbun, obviously, who plays very well, and he played very well at the beginning of last year, is picking up I believe he said, or I believe it was written that he was on the core team, which I'm guessing is their top tier team, knowing Gavin. Gavin, just an all-around solid young player. I know he had some injury issues a few years ago with his shoulder, I believe is what it was. But good to see him getting a disc sponsor that will hopefully help him do a full tour and show what he had the potential of showing a few years ago before the injury. So I feel like it's a perfect size sponsorship for Prodigy. Gavin he's not a top 10 guy right now. He can easily finish top 10 any given week, but, probably sits, 15 to 20th position a lot of weeks. But I'll tell you what, I think it's a good stepping stone for him, or a good landing zone. It might not be a stepping stone, depending on how Will Schustrick directs Prodigy in the future. This is like probably their first, it's not their first signing, but it's their first big name signing since Will's been the CEO.
Yeah, we see that obviously Gavin was the 2024 Disc Golf Pro Tour Comeback Player of the Year, and he already has 42 wins to his name. I often see him most when I go down to Florida for a couple of events, namely the Gainesville event and a few others. He's been out on the tour. He's been playing some really good golf. And then he's like some of our other players that often are screamed and said, how is he not sponsored? And in a similar fashion, some people have said the same about Austin Turner, who's now worked himself into like a 1030 rating.
Yeah.
And we also saw Austin Turner
come back with Discraft.
Yeah. Austin Turner just recently signed. So 2 players that plenty of people have been understandably yelling, how are they not sponsored? Yeah. Both of them are now sponsored. And I don't know if it was since last week or not, but I will add on that Deanne and AJ Carey have also signed to Team Prodigy. I feel like that's been since last week.
It might.
I don't feel like that was on our radar last Tuesday. So I'm going to say it here, even if I said it last week.
Congratulations to them too.
Congrats to the Careys.
You wouldn't have said it last week because you weren't here. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. So so that means it happened since then. So AJ and Deanne Carey signed by Prodigy, and now Gavin signed by Prodigy. I might know of somebody else getting signed by Prodigy that I can't share, but the point is we're seeing...
Is it you?
New...
Is it me?
Fresh signings on Prodigy, and a lot of conversations been had in seeing a Vino leave, in seeing a Kevin Jones leave, and seeing a Kale leave. Those are all very legitimate. And then, Will steps in as a CEO, all part of the news cycles. But now, when everyone's saying, well, who's there and what's going on and everything else, now we see a few people getting added onto the roster. So,
and just
we shall see.
Instinctively, these feel like smaller signings than probably something that Kale is going to get. That's something that some of those players that left are getting, Isaac and Ezra, and which is why I think it's Gavin. This might be a good spot for him right now. Now, if in the next 5 years Gavin becomes the hottest thing on the planet, maybe he moves on because Prodigy can't afford him, or maybe he helps raise Prodigy up so that he can afford him. We don't know what the future holds, but ultimately, it's good. Another sponsorship that I saw was that I don't know if he plans on playing any or much more this year, but Zach Melton re-signed with Dynamic Discs. I think
9 times.
9 times, his 9th year. There's an undercurrent online right now talking about how people are thinking Dynamic Discs is going to fold. They're going to go under, but they keep signing players.
They're going to sign another one soon.
Yeah, they keep renewing players. Shh, don't tell anybody, Terry. Is it you? Is it me? Is it Matt Schlabach? Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, so what we are seeing a continued presence with Dynamic, and I don't think that we're going to see a company like them particularly fold anytime soon or go under. Not as long as they keep signing players.
Well, there's going to be another announcement of at least one more Dynamic signing coming out soon. Shh. Okay.
Spoiler, almost?
No.
An almost spoiler.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it for the regular show. We'll come back for the after show. We'll do a giveaway. We'll talk a little bit more about the memorial experience that we had. And then maybe wrap some things up.
Yeah, maybe.
Or maybe not. Maybe we'll stay here all night.
Maybe. All night. With that, we have to thank our now 3-time and undefeated at the memorial one Gannon Buhr. So congratulations to him. Congrats to all the winners and the staff and the crew. Another huge thank you to none other than the First Light crew. Dan, Boyd, Robin. Things wouldn't happen out in Arizona for me if it weren't for them. And so I appreciate the heck out of them. Also to Spicy and Dustin, who are out there hustling around all weekend as well. It was a crazy weekend, and I'm glad we're through it. But another memorial in the books, and big shout out to everyone over at Spinners and all the volunteers and spotters and sponsors and everyone else that makes that event happen, along with your presenting sponsor of the event in Discraft. So thank you to all of those people and your champions, as I just said. And then we want to thank good old Ben Kenny for the information in regards to the Disc Golf Expos.
DiscExpos.com, I believe.
Make sure you check one or both of them out. There's opportunities at each, and hopefully you'll get out there and enjoy them. Thank you to all of our Patreon subscribers and members here on Smashbox.
We got 2 giveaways tonight.
And so you're going to want to make sure you get in on that for those 2 giveaways tonight. And thank you to all of my Disc Golf Guy Patreon supporters and sponsors. We couldn't do what we do without you. So giveaways coming in the after show, as always. For Johnny V, I'm the Disc Golf Guy. That's SmashBoxx TV podcast 541. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll see you when you come back. You step inside the Smashbox.
Thank you to our $2 and above patrons. Your name is listed below in the credits. If you are interested in being listed as a producer in the SmashBoxx TV credits and supporting this and other fine podcasts, please visit patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBox TV Podcast 541's After Show.
Shout out to Spinners on the Green for donating one of these discs. This red one here.
Sweet. What is it? Give me it. I want it.
All right. I don't know.
I already know what it is. It's got to be a rattler.
Probably a rattler.
I mean, you don't get a dog
lip
dish
like that. Yeah.
a dog dish that feels that it's memorial rattler. There we go.
We have 2 giveaways this week, and part of the entry fee part of the players pack, was a $100 gift certificate to Spinners on the Green. So I picked up one of these for our Smashies that we're going to give away tonight too. It's a Buzz Memorial Phoenix. It's one of those shiny ones.
Like holographic almost?
Kind of, almost. Anyway.
Let me see. It's funny, as much as I worked this week, and I never actually took a close look at the stand.
Yeah, I got one like that in the
Nice.
players pack as well. Plus, I bought one for the Smashies that we can give away tonight.
Oh, that is...
But this one, Spinners
Sharp
donated.
looking.
The other one, Spinners donated. So huge shout out to them.
Okay. So we'll have some giveaways, give you guys some free stuff. I'm going to try and get a few more free things out. A couple email responses came in while I was gone last week. So hopefully we'll get a few more free items out to you guys before I take off. And then there'll be yet a little bit of a break before we get the next set mailed out to you, because I'll be, gone. Shipping from Thailand's not very practical.
No, it's not.
It's very expensive. Unless you're in country. I may have given this tidbit last year. It's insane that you can ship from an island onto the mainland. I think my suitcase was almost 50 pounds, and was it like $8 or something like that? And it shipped in like 2 days. It got from one spot completely to the other side of the country. It's insane. It fits the narrative that once you're there, everything's very inexpensive, and that was exactly the case. Yeah, shipping within country, no problem whatsoever. Shipping in and out of the country, much bigger challenge for sure.
Right now, I'm just putting together our Patreon list right now, and I do want to give a chuckle out to Glenn Reiser, because I think we gave some people a hard time using the free version, and he put it in his name. Glenn, I've donated money a few times, Reiser. So thank you, Glenn. We do appreciate your donations as well, and you are entered into this every week. I put your name in, as well as Christopher Sigurdsson.
Okay,
So,
coming out of
out of
and I got to remember one of
Minneapolis.
the discs that we gave away a few weeks ago is going to Cy Spencer, and I believe Cy is residing. Just thought of that one. Residing in Singapore. So at some point in my Asia travels, I think I'm going to run into him, or at least I know someone who knows him. So rather than spending the $38 to ship it to Singapore, I'll just bring it on over and hand it off. But
look at you, Terry Miller.
We got to save all those pennies.
Save the pennies. All right, for Doc Zen, who's the only one clamoring for information on my experience at the memorial.
Why'd you do that, Doc?
Doc, you asked.
Why, Doc?
So I flew in on Wednesday. I got to play about 7 holes at Vista. Kind of just did the front, so to speak, which is holes. I think I did 1 through 4, and then 16, 17, 18. So I got a real little bit of practice in. Then we went to Vista the next day on first day of the tournament on Thursday. Relatively windy. And I played like caca. I played like poo-poo. I played poorly. I played very aggressive is what I did, mistakenly. I went out and tried to make shots I probably shouldn't have, and I found the OB quite a bit. And thankfully at Vista, the OB are just OB lines. I made some very dumb rookie mistakes, and I shot like a 900 rated round. 899, 900, somewhere around there. Was not happy. I was in 20th place. I made a decision that the next day at Vista, I was going to play smart.
Like Gannon Buhr?
Not like Gannon
Just
Buhr.
like Gannon.
Nothing like Gannon. Gannon plays aggressive, and he's good. I played smart and laid up a lot of things. But I ended up shooting a 1 over par. Less windy conditions. And I found the OB twice that round. I shot a 1 over, and I bogeyed 16 and 18. 2 holes that I did well the day before, but I still shot 1 over, which was the hottest round of Vista in my division any day, which was great. It was a 980 or something rated round. It felt real good. I putted. I think I hit like a 40-footer and like maybe a 35-footer. Everything else was inside the circle. I laid up 1 or 2 elevated putts that I just didn't feel like going at, and I played safe. I was a little disappointed. And I told this to Terry. I did something that I have never done before. I was on the box on hole 1. I kept the box through hole 18. I did not give up the box the entire round.
You started?
I started the round with the box.
Okay.
And I finished the round with the box, and never between then did I give it up. Vista's not an easy course, and it can easily bite you if you just get a little too aggressive or get a little wild, like I did the first day. I think the other guys in my group shot anywhere from 7 to 12 over that round, but it was very weird.
First round you shot a third.
I shot an 11.
An 11, okay.
So I improved by 10 strokes. I was disappointed in hole 16. I noticed that I hadn't given up the box on hole 15. When I was teeing off of 15, I'm like, God, I'm teeing first again. I was like, oh, yeah, I've teed first every hole. Jeez, that's crazy. And then hole 16, I threw it pin high, but if you know the hole, it's the one that's up on the hill. I skittered off to the left. I was pin high, but on the sidewalk, which is OB. I laid it up and took a 4. At that point, I thought, okay, it's fine. I'm going to give up the box. Unfortunately for the players with me, they all took bogeys as well.
They're just playing follow the leader at that point. They're like, if Johnny's doing it, it must be good. So let's bogey.
One gentleman he almost took a 3. He was about 20 feet away, hit the basket, got up and rolled all the way down Nico style over the sidewalk. And he was literally reaching over, and I yelled at him. I said, stop! Don't touch your mini. Not that it really would have mattered. He probably could have just put it back. And he's like, what? I'm like, you can re-putt from there. It's like a 15 to 20 foot putt. He's like, what? I'm like, you're taking the penalty stroke out of the way. You can abandon the throw and play from where you are, and you get the same penalty. Blah, blah. And he's like, wow. That's a good rule to know, huh? I'm like, yes, it is a very good rule to know. And we kind of chuckled about it. And then he laid it up under the pin to take a 4 as well. I think maybe it was a 5 at that point. But either way, another guy in my group had he was up on the right for his 3, laid it up as well smartly. Everyone took a 4. And then, we proceeded to move on. Hole 18, which I parked the only birdie I got on day 1. I threw the same disc.
East. No.
I was under the pin on day 1 on 18. I was 100 feet long day 2. I got a hole of it. It stood up, and it's like how far is hole 18? 200 or 290?
318 feet.
318 feet.
Or 308.
I was
318.
Past the basket, in the next fairway, underneath of a tree, which I looked at that and literally I wanted to throw a hard shot, but I wanted to throw it hyzer, and it stood up and it just went. I was like, holy crap, I just threw that 400 feet. That sucked. Like, that's not a problem I usually have. I caught the disc with the right angle and the right wind, and it just took off on me. So I ended up bogeying that as well. But either way, that was day 2. I was very happy with my 1 over. That took me from 20th place to 4th place. So then I'm on the lead card with Schlebach,
who you've said on this show you were going to
beat. I said I'm going to get him. So I'm coming for him.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now he's in your sights.
Now he's in my sights. He has me by, I think, 3 strokes going into that round. Nothing I can't. I think I was at 12 over, and he was at 9 over. Hole 1 at Fountain. I did the one thing you can't do. Sploosh. I threw it right in the middle of the goddamn lake. I thought I threw it hard, and somehow I came up short. The same disc that I threw the day before.
Did you play the long or the short tee?
The short tee. It's like 282.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought I threw it hard. Like I said, it's the same disc the day before. I outdrove 18 with.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
And it's everything, but this time it didn't stand up, and it decided just to hyzer, and it didn't even cross. So I had to re-tee. I parked it with a different disc, so I took a circle 4, which, for what it's worth, I was extremely happy with that after splashing down. So I'm down one driver, go through the course, kind of play. I'm taking bogeys, got a birdie or two, get to hole 5, throw my Undertaker, and leave it on the course. I literally just must have left it there. I think I picked it up and I set it behind my bag, and I went and putted on the approach. I grabbed my bag, I walked away. I was like, oh, and I didn't even, the funny part is I didn't even notice that I was missing it. So now I'm down 2 discs. I get to hole 9. Oh, I threw a putter in the water at 1.2 and that was gone. I get to hole 9 and I slip on the tee pad. Now the tee pads at Memorial are notorious, especially at Fountain, for being a little slick. They're worn down. They're the big circular ones. And I wanted to throw kind of an Anheuser out to the open area of the peninsula, but instead, nothing came out Anheuser. It all came out Heiser. Sploosh! Right in the water. That's my other stable, kind of stable driver. Now at this point, I don't have any more stable drivers in my bag. I've gone through all 3 of my primary drivers, 2 in the water, 1 on the course, and I'm not a happy man. I wasn't shooting very well. And now we're getting into like the windy point of the course. Oh, plus I took a tree penalty stroke.
Oh, I didn't even hear that one.
Yeah, on the short one
6?
6. I threw it. I caught barely the top of it. It started trickle down and stopped. I was like, seriously? Like, all right. I guess I'll take this stroke too. And from that point,
did you get that disc back?
I did. Yeah, it was. We had a disc retriever. It was probably about 14 feet in the air. So I was not a happy camper at that point. We get to the back 9. It gets windy. I start going through my bag. I'm like, oh crap, I've got nothing stable to throw here. Like literally, I think the most stable disc in my bag was my Cicada, which I'm not even that familiar with. I just started throwing it at the end of last year. But I have nothing else I can throw. So I basically finished off the round with the Cicada. And it didn't end well because it was windy, and the Cicada is not a overstable disc. It goes straight to flip. The long one is at hole 17 or is it
17's a long one, so it's 15.
Yeah,
15's 426 flat, and 17 is like it's 457.
It's
downhill.
the one we were playing from. Yeah, downhill. I didn't have anything. I had a stiff headwind. I threw it. It stood up straight up and started drifting to the right, drifting to the right, drifting to the right. I almost had as far of a throw. I was in bounds, thankfully, almost as far of an approach as I feel like I did the drive. Probably not quite nearly that. I had a 260-foot approach way off to the right, ended up coming up short, put myself right behind those trees. So I didn't really have an angle on it. That was the theme of the back 9 is somehow I managed on the 3 holes that are surrounded by the basket's surrounded by trees. I managed to find the bad spot in all 3 of them and couldn't approach, which that happens. Bad approaches combined with bad luck, combined with whatever. So I think I ended up shooting a 7 over that round, 5 over, something like that. I don't even care. Didn't even look.
Oh, I'm gonna now.
You can look.
We're this far in.
But it dropped me down to 14th place. I went from 4th to 14th. I wasn't happy about it. I didn't even putt that well, which normally I think I'm a pretty decent putter. I missed at least 3 putts inside the circle that I probably shouldn't. One was on an elevated basket. I shouldn't have missed, but I just hit the front of the basket. I had good, and Schlebach played great. That guy, he made like 1 or 2 what I would call dumb mistakes. Where it's funny because I don't think I made any dumb mistakes. I made execution mistakes, which a mistake is a mistake. Schlebach made 2 mistakes that I was just like, really? Wow. That's just like hole 5. He ran at a putt that I didn't think he should have. when he was facing the road, and he ran hard at it. And I was like, ooh, and at this point he was chasing. He was not ahead. But he ended up getting it together, and he shot really well. It was fun to watch. He hit a couple of really nice putts. He throws a really good disc. He was a fun guy to get to play with, and get to chat with him during the round a little bit. But it was a lot of fun. A good memorial. So
7 over was that final round.
Yeah, 7 over. Well, what was it even rated? It was
Oh no, they don't have those numbers.
good. It's not good because it felt like I honestly say it felt like an 890 rated round. Like that's what it felt like to me.
Let's head on over. Where's the buttons to get there? Yeesh.
Yeah, at towards the end, Doc, I was. It was one of those things where I was attacking everything because it didn't matter to me as much. So
880.
All right, so I was close. I said 890. It felt like it felt bad. Like it just felt bad. You know, the 980 round I shot the day before felt like a good round, but I knew I left strokes out there. I was like, I left 2 or 3 out there for sure. But yeah, that 880 round, everything just kept circling the toilet. It wasn't pretty. Although my final hole 18, at this point I'm in communication with our buddy Steve. We're chatting via a walkie-talkie app on our phones. And I get up to 18 and I'm like, I just want to get out of this course now. But we have a pretty good headwind, no stable disc.
That's when you should have just walked off.
Nah, you can't do that. You can't do that, Terry. So I pull up the Cicada and I crushed one. It had the most perfect turn right into the sweetheart landing spot. Had like a 70-footer, ran at it, went 25 deep, and I was like, oh crap, I'm going to end this stupid course with a bogey. I hit the 25-foot comeback putt. That's all I kept thinking. I'm like, at one point I said, I'm just going to lay this up. And then when I walked up, I'm like, no, it's too close to lay up at this point. What does it matter? The course has already kicked me between the legs a few times. Just go at it. And I ran at the 70-footer. Of course, it's all sloped, and I missed and went down the hill. But I hit the comeback to save for 3, a good 3. I was the only person to 3 it on my card. Well, Schlabach got to lay up, though.
There's that.
He probably could have 3'd it, but he laid up from the top of the hill because he knew he had the win in hand. So ultimately, obviously, congratulations to Schlabach. He played very well, and I did not. I'll get him next time, though. I'm going to get him next time.
Will you?
Probably not, but I'll say I will.
Okay.
So that's
are
really
you going to
matters.
play next year is the question.
I don't know. It depends. I kind of want to. It all depends. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen with the course and the tournament next year because I heard that Vista obviously is getting redesigned, but they're doing it in parts. Like one half of the course is 1 year, the other half of the course is the next year.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't even know if they're going to have it at Vista at all next year. We won't know until we find out. Glenn Reiser, thank you for the donation. I wasn't begging for anything earlier, just giving you a thing. Huff Rock X, did you cash? I believe it was trophy only.
Yes,
that is what we figured because I wasn't sure at first, but with the generous players pack. I actually, if you see a picture of Schlabach and Keith Murray holding the trophy, I took that picture. I happened to be in there when he was collecting his trophy, and I got a chance to take a picture of the guy who put the beat down on me. But yeah, would I go back next year? No, probably not. I'd like to go to a different event, something like the Las Vegas Challenge or the KC Wide Open or
Pro Worlds.
No, I won't plan on playing Pro Worlds.
This is an option.
We can't even play Pro Worlds anymore. You know, they didn't even let us. My rating's not high enough.
Speaking of that,
I made sure to keep it that way.
One thing that I feel like is maybe I'm silly in thinking this, but it seems like a growing sentiment is that more and more people are talking about Pro Worlds from a spectator perspective, just purely spectator.
Yeah.
And I love it. That is so exciting. Obviously, we're expecting a huge gallery and turnout at Pro Worlds from the locals or from anyone that's already over in Europe and just the overall fan base that's there. But the fact that we hear now, one of them I'm referencing is maybe not surprising that AB's parents Jason and Trina are talking about going. Like that's clearly not surprising. AB very well could be winning Worlds. They're going to want to be there for it, so on and so forth. So that's not like a huge shock. They're very supportive and very involved with his regular tournament schedule, and being at Worlds, isn't a crazy idea. So that's not. But then just other players who players or fans that aren't as directly invested or related, we'll say, to some of our players, have also been talking about it. I love hearing that enthusiasm. A good friend of the show, Tom McManus, is talking about going over there and even potentially volunteering for a couple of days and then being there for the conclusion and for just watching and spectating, but may mix in a few days of volunteering and working first. Incredible. What a great idea. Caddies. I've heard someone this weekend talking about how they want to go over there just to be a caddy. Two people, actually, one male, one female, have talked about going over there just to be caddies so that they could be there and be part of it, and are trying to line up a caddy role with certain players. So I love hearing all of that, is my point. It's very exciting. There's a lot of hype surrounding the idea of Worlds being over in Europe, and to see it not only be just with the players, but then also trickle into the spectators and fans and whatnot and other supporters. I love it. I'm totally here for it.
One of the weird things that you and I both agreed on in Phoenix.
Well, there's been a few.
There's been a few weird things. The driverless cars, the Waymo cars.
Oh, yeah.
We get to drive around Phoenix, and suddenly you pull up next to you is a white Waymo car with no driver, nobody in it even, and you're like, that is weird. And then
sometimes there's people in the back, obviously.
Sometimes, usually, and it's funny because those are tinted windows, so it's a lot of times it's hard to tell. But you can easily tell that there's nobody driving, and you look over, you're like, "Oh, that's strange." And they take off the line.
Yeah,
like I noticed that. Like they it's not like a slow acceleration. And I wonder if that's programmed. Like if there's a person in there, I wonder if it's a slower acceleration versus if there's not, because those things. I was sitting next to one in the Nissan Sentra that I rented, and the light hits green, and I go, and I was like, holy crap, that thing there's no slowdown in that bad boy. So just having those things drive around is really weird.
Yeah, it's something that we saw a few months ago. If you've been going to Phoenix at all in the last few years, we saw them training, so to speak, and you saw often people in them, and it was what it was. But now to see them, and this has been going on for a couple of years, that you order them just like you order an Uber. You download the app. It's called Waymo, Waymo, and you download the app, and sure enough, car comes, picks you up. Obviously, I've said this for years, and I know that they've expanded they're in other cities, in California and other places, but if you're trying to bust out that technology and have this be a thing, a place like Phoenix is just such a no-brainer place to be.
No weather and flat.
Yeah. And maybe in addition to both of those things, I just think of the very, very clear and concise grid-like system that makes most of their roads just regular old city blocks of some varying sizes, but very few curved roads when you're thinking about and when you're out there. It's just a very, very distinct grid system. Kind of like if you've ever been to a Salt Lake City, it's just perfectly gridded out in terms of being able to see, obviously they have a few curved roads, and not to say you shouldn't, these things can't ever take a curve. I'm just saying if you're getting the basics down, it seems like a good city for it to start in. So yeah, it's definitely cool to see.
Yeah. I was thinking it's going to be 5 years probably before we see them in most major cities. I bet you it's about 5 years, and I think 10 years before they're almost everywhere.
Yeah,
just it's going to push those Uber drivers out of business.
Yeah, quite possible. Well, it's going to be like everything else. I mean, it's going to go to. There's still always going to be competition because, from my understanding, is there's still. Right now, those are priced roughly the exact same as an Uber or a Lyft is in the area. And I'm just surprised that you're not seeing some major price differential.
You think they should be more expensive or cheaper?
I would think they would be cheaper. And that would be an easy that would be an easy, way for them to then
Well, I think
acquire and attract customers.
Yeah, I think
cheaper than somebody where you're paying somebody to drive.
They're limited right now, obviously, but once these things start taking off,
they wouldn't. My glasses wouldn't tell me how many were in the city. That's a secret number.
Yeah,
that they wouldn't tell me how many were in Phoenix. If I can send you a link, I think I need a visual to explain this to you guys. So I'm going to send this link to Johnny, and maybe he can pull it up on his on the screen that we'll share with the world. We almost need a telestrator. Is that the word?
Yeah.
So I can draw this thing.
The new version of vMix has telestrator.
I don't know if this whole link will work, but if you can click on that link.
All right.
And then we can share it with the world. I'll take over the mouse. Perfect. Yes.
Okay.
So share this with the world, if you will.
All right,
I'm going to tell you what turned out to be one of the most truly terrifying moments of my entire life.
Really?
And it was this weekend. And it's funny that I did forget about it, but I was telling the story for the first time to my good buddy Dustin last night as we were traveling back. So if you can see I'm showing you the map right now of the Phoenix area. I'm going to zoom out just for a second to just give you a little reference point that out on the northeast side is which will ultimately bring you out to Fountain Hills. Mm-hmm. Way out here in this general area. Yeah, here's Fountain Hills that I'm clicking on where the course is. And then everything else over here in Scottsdale is in that general direction is where you're going to find the other course, just for what it's worth. There's a couple reference points. So anyway, on Sunday night, now I got to find exactly where I was. So Sunday night, I had gotten everything ready to go in terms of the commentary. Get me back to where we started. Sorry. So in terms of the commentary, got the video edited. Parker Welk ultimately was going to come over and we got the commentary done. And then with that, I had just literally a little bit of time. Thank you. I had a little bit of time to then go to visit some friends. Well, my computer was just exporting. There's like nothing you can really do during that time, hardly. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go visit some friends. This is late Sunday night. Now it's become late Sunday night. We did commentary, and then I don't know if it was midnight or so. Sunday night, I go visit with some other disc golfers. On my way back, I ultimately have to take this road, which is one of the main highways. I don't know if that's the 101 or the 202. I don't even know what it says. It doesn't matter. So I get off of that highway to take this road, which is 87, which would bring you normally out to Fountain Hills, and I have to go up to McDowell and hang a left. If you're looking at this right now, so I'm going north, and then I've got to get up here and hang a left. As I originally got on this little road, which is like a 2-lane or 4-lane highway, I get on it, and I'm right about where the mouse is, where this little car is, and I'm doing 45, which is the exact speed limit. I'm doing 45, and some car just comes barreling up behind me. I'm like, okay, that's a little crazy. They're driving pretty fast and aggressive. They got to be going 65 or something like that. And I'm just cruising along, and they get up, and then they pull behind me.
And this is 2 lanes going your direction.
Yeah, this is 2 lanes going the direction I need to be going. I'm going from south to north on the map if you're looking at it. But I'm going south to north, and it pulls up behind me, and not like riding my tail, but pretty close. I'm like, okay, that's weird. And I'm thinking, well, maybe it's a cop that wanted to get up on me and then run a plate or something. Feel free. I don't care, whatever. And I was like, that's weird, but all right. Then I notice after a moment of it, there's not lights on the top. So if it is a cop, it's an unmarked car. So I keep driving, and if you see the cursor, I'm just driving north, and I'm like, okay, well, I have to turn left on McDowell.
And it's not a Waymo because this is a curved road.
Yeah, I know. And it's not in a Waymo because there's a curve to it. This is a very, very famous landmark, just in the sense like this is your last place to get anything to eat or drink from here at this gas station until you get all the way out to Fountain Hills, 15, 20 minutes. There's just nothing in between. But anyway, so this is a very recognizable intersection is my point. So all I'm thinking is, well, it doesn't matter. I'm not thinking anything really at this point. I thought that was a little weird, but so I have to go left on McDowell. which basically brings you right back to the course, which is very much where the Airbnb is. No big deal. I'm looking at my maps and at this point then almost thinking, well, that's a little weird. I accidentally pull into this place right here. I pull in here instead of hanging a left at McDowell.
You hung a left before McDowell.
I hang a left just a little bit early because I'm like thinking about it for a second. Not them, I'm not thinking about my driving. I'm thinking about them, the people behind me. So I pull into here and follow my cursor. I'm pulling into here. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, shoot. I can't get out of here. I've definitely taken the wrong way. I'm going to just go back out. This car follows me into here. And I'm like, this is weird. Like, I just made a wrong turn. Why is somebody else making a wrong turn? That's odd. So I pull in, I get up to here, right around this area, and I'm thinking like, okay, well, where am I going to turn around? I'm looking off in that direction. There's some lights on in this building, but not really. It's clearly like a closed business, although I have no idea what business it is.
It's an office complex of some sort.
It's like an office complex. So I pull up, and then I'm like, well, I'm going to turn around. It's weird they're behind me. Maybe they're probably just going to turn around too. They come up, they get a little bit closer behind me, and then I start going up to this spot because I'm like, okay, well, it looks like I don't want to just turn right around and be like facing them. So I'm going to pull right up into here. So I start to pull up to here. As I pull up, so if you can see my cursor, I'm like right by what would be the entrance if they were open. I pull up to there and I'm thinking, okay, well, that's a little weird. They're behind me, but okay. They pull up a little closer. So now they're only a few hundred feet behind me and they turn off their lights. And all I'm thinking is, holy shit, I'm going to get carjacked. Like, why are you behind me at a dead end parking lot where I made a wrong turn?
Okay.
Carjacking is the most logical to me. Obviously, it could be anything else, but I'm thinking like they're going to carjack me. They have turned off their lights and they're waiting right where my mouse is.
So they're kind of blocking your way out.
Kind of, yes. And I'm like, but I'm sitting up here with my lights on and I'm stopped and I'm making it look like I'm looking at my phone. I'm thinking, oh my God, and I'm starting to panic. I'm legitimately panicking at this point, thinking, is this 911 material? Like, they haven't done anything yet. All they've done is oddly followed me and turned off their lights. But this is weird. And it's funny, my heart is racing just talking about this right now. And so I'm just sitting there for a second thinking to myself. And then I slowly start to drive, to turn, to go around this turn where I have room.
Yep.
And they like gun it and come barreling at me down this little stretch. I floor it practically without like running into anything. I gun it. I go out here. I make the turn. They're following me. They're chasing me. And I get out to here back towards the entrance. And all I'm thinking is, oh my God, don't turn the wrong way. Because now I'm getting a little confused because it's dark over here. So I turn back out, rip around the corner, rip back through here. I don't know if it's legal or illegal. However, I went out through here. No, I went out through here, which I'm not sure was legal or not. I don't care. And then I cut across and then I got back on the main road, followed it back out. They're still following me. I get to here to the main intersection, which of course has a red light. So I'm sitting there and they're like 2 cars back. There's a car in between us now at this point. They're 2 cars back. I turn left onto McDowell, which is the way I need to go. And all I'm thinking is, well, I'm going to punch. I punched in the cop station, police station, and I just typed in Scottsdale Police and I punched that in and then I continue. So I've got this long stretch of McDowell, and then you get back into like businesses.
Yeah.
Well, it's like nothing out here for
it's a little while. It's a little less Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, as you can see, like it's like a wall. You're like all of a sudden you're back in the city. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going down this road, and then by about 2 or 3 of these larger main roads blocks later, there's no one behind me and no one in front of me. They pulled back off. I was scared shitless. I have no, maybe it was some kids goofing off. Maybe somebody had no ill intentions whatsoever. But when I started to pull out of that driveway and they gunned it, and came after me. And then I'm ripping around the corner, like tires squealing, the whole 9 yards.
Wow.
And my heart is just racing. And all I'm thinking is, there's going to be gunshots from the back. Like, I don't know why you'd be trying to shoot at me.
I don't know.
Absolutely insane. Absolutely crazy. So, like I said, I don't know, half mile later, I kept watching. I'm thinking, all I'm thinking is, don't let them follow me back to the Airbnb, because that won't end well.
No,
what am I going to do? Park the car and then run inside? Like, that seems pretty stupid.
No, because that code then the Airbnb is super long. You're I got a 0, darn it.
No, even if the door was unlocked, I'm just thinking like, well,
no, you'd probably go right to the cop shop. So
that was that. Thank God there's no crazier ending to it than what had happened. I have no idea. But it was one of the few times in my life I was absolutely, genuinely terrified for my safety and life and well-being. Because I kept thinking, like, what would you, if you're stopping me or going to block me or cut me off or get me to stop, like, A, you're blocking my entrance if they would have stayed out there. And B, what do you want from me? Do you just want my wallet?
The car, probably.
Do you want the actual car? Do you think, did you not know who was in the car? And maybe you thought there were people in the car that you would rather have, that you're trying to actually physically capture? I have no idea. I can't postulate. I was just assuming it would be like a standard carjacking of some kind. But anyway, that was it. Somehow I almost, once they were officially gone,
like,
and there was definitely no one around. Yeah, it's amazing how quickly, because I completely forgot about it. By the time I went to bed, I wasn't worked up. It was a couple hours later, but I wasn't worked up. And then I completely forgot about it until yesterday on the way back. So that happened Sunday night. Monday, while we were, I think, returning the car to the airport and going to the airport, that's when I told our buddy and my roommate, Dustin, for the week. I was like, oh yeah, this happened last night. It's like, I don't know how I forgot about it, but anyway, it's so much better with the visual of showing like how I was blocked off. I was trying to explain it to him, but just showing like by making that wrong turn, it made everything a million times scarier.
Yeah, because had you just made it to McDowell and make a left, whoopity-doo, if they're following, you would have probably no clue they were following you in general.
Exactly. But when they're following me into a closed office building
at midnight,
midnight, yeah,
nothing shady about that.
Oh my gosh, it was wild. So I'm safe. Don't worry.
I'm glad you're here.
Wasn't shot or shot at
or stolen from.
Stolen.
You're not in a hole in the desert. If
you had to guess, just knowing my story, just a carjacking, is that what you would assume?
Yeah. Like if you're talking nefarious, yes, that's probably what they were.
Oh, do you think they were trying to hand off a pizza to me?
No.
Like, hey man, we saw you left the parking lot without some pizza.
It could have been a case of mistaken identity. Maybe they thought they knew you at first. Maybe not. Maybe they were just dinking around. Maybe they were confused by when you went in there too, why they would gun it and just quote unquote chase you. I don't know.
It was like straight up out of like a Grand Theft, like I was scared. Like, yeah, it was pretty wild. Some disc collector trying to hijack.
They thought maybe you had some discs in your trunk. Junk in the trunk.
The car tag was showing there was nothing that would indicate, I don't know if it had California plates, but it was a basic, you had like a Nissan Sentra. I think we had a Nissan Altima, a basic mid-size rental car. You wouldn't have known it was a rental, but also not like a nice car.
Sure. No.
I mean, nothing. I was going to say nothing worth stealing. Yeah. I have no idea. Anyway, so that was Gannon messing. Yeah, it was Gannon. Yeah, Gannon with his fresh license and whatnot just decided to go out there and terrorize people. Anyway, that was the story of Sunday night. And then I got back and uploaded some videos and made some thumbnails and went to bed. That's how it goes. All right. We got giveaways to do.
We do. We have 2 giveaways. Patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV. I've got everybody pulled in. If you would like to be eligible, that's where you go. Just your storyboard me. Sorry. Just give us a donation. That's it. It could be as little as $1 a week, $1 a month. That could work too.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah,
we'll take it. We appreciate it.
Yeah. So we have 112 people eligible for our giveaway tonight, Terry.
Ooh, I like it.
What number should we do? We're doing 2 of them. The first one we're going to give away is going to be the one from Spinners on the Green. Thank you, Spinners, for donating this Memorial Championship Rattler. It's a limited edition
A
ESPN
Dan
Flex.
Ginley special there for sure.
Yes, a Dan Ginley special. So what number should we generate, Terry?
I think Gannon Buhr winning his 3rd Memorial makes for us to draw the 3rd number.
All right. So our first number is 98. Our second number is 7. I sorted it by first name. Third number is 92. 92, Terry. So let's find out who 92 is. 92 is Sheldon Smith. Congratulations, Sheldon Smith.
Excuse me.
Oh, that's fine. We can mute it. You got a mute button right here, too. You know that, right? Anyway, Sheldon Smith, congratulations. You are getting the Rattler. Just what everybody wanted. Once again, thank you, Spinners on the Green. It is much appreciated. It feels really nice. It's this ESP Flex plastic. So that's for Sheldon. And Terry, we got another giveaway. What number?
I think you just go right on to the next one.
Right on to the next one. All right, our next number is 95.
Dang, so what, 98, 92, and now 95?
95.
90s were a good time, that's for sure.
95 is Steven Smits. Steven Smits from Wauwatosa here.
Wow.
Thank you, Steven.
More local. I like it.
Sheldon's out of Atlanta. So thank you, Sheldon. Thank you, Steven. Thank you for being supporters. We're going to make sure you guys get these. And Steven, you get this really, like I said, you get this really awesome holographic gram thing, buzz for the memorial. So the Scottsdale and Fountain Hills on it, 2025 Memorial Championships. It's got a phoenix. I'm assuming that's a phoenix rising in Phoenix.
Or it's just a bird on fire.
It'd just be a bird on fire, but usually...
This bird is on fire.
No, I don't think so, Terry.
Maybe not. I will say it now that it's going to be dicey as to next week's show for me. I will officially be in Thailand, and time-wise, I don't know.
We usually do it right from the course.
Yeah, I know, but with my flight specifically and the timing, I don't know that I'm available next Tuesday.
Okay, we'll get it figured out. I looked.
I'll keep you guys posted.
There's really no events this weekend either. There's no A-tiers this weekend to really speak of. After this week, we go back down south to, our wonderful the Florida events and the Georgia event that we had. Bainbridge.
Yeah, I know that and Tallahassee will be happening in the next few weeks and such.
But not next week. Next week there's really not much going on. So hopefully there'll be some news that'll break in the next week or so.
I think we're gonna hear some more sponsorship signings.
That's what you said.
And some other stuff that's going to continue to shock us. So shock the world, all these big secrets. We appreciate you guys for joining us tonight. Thanks for coming along for our silly stories and rides. Yes, Ed says the New Zealand events, certainly keep your eye all on our friends over there at Go Throw, who will continue, I'm sure, to put out good coverage. I haven't had a chance to even download or consume any of it. At some point, I'll be able to peek my head in there.
Well, you're going to have a long plane ride, so download some from your YouTube so you can watch it, maybe.
Yes, I will have to go check some of that out for sure. Glenn says, someone will moped jack you in Thailand. No, those people are nice. Nobody will do that. No Thai people, I know that. But, and plus, they don't have guns. So right off the bat, I'm already, I don't know, 10,006% safer than around here anyway. So, yeah, you guys will see plenty of photos and pictures and good times coming from over there. For Johnny V, your 14th place finisher at the Memorial Championship, Doc Zen, if you need more Johnny V hole-by-hole breakdowns, his phone number is 262-2. I'm sure he can give them to you. But thank you guys for supporting us. Thanks for coming along for the ride for the week of the Memorial in any capacity. Thank you to Gannon Buhr, as well as thank you to Ben Kenny over there at Disc Golf Expos. Hope you guys have a good time. If you go to the Disc Golf Expo out there in Massachusetts this weekend, I'm excited to see some of the responses and the chaos, as I called it, from over there. That's it. It's 541's after show. Yeah. We'll see you next week when you step inside the Smashbox.